This week's brought to you by Charmin's, because life is shitty and sometimes you just have to have a soft wipe. Viewer discretion is advised.
Claims at the time
nuclear holocaust,
chemical weapons and all-out war. He has a military force. Bomb Syria
heading to Iraq.
in a way from your theory. So you're saying that you and your fellow Democrats
What's up, all you motherfuckers out there? I'm Rooster.
I'm Brother D.
And you're listening to Bad Table Manners. Joining us tonight on the show, very special guest, frontman of the band called Descendsion out of Weirton, West Virginia, undisclosed place at an undisclosed location, James Keller. What's up, man?
What's going on, guys?
It's good to have you on the show, man. Now, for all you guys listening out there, quick disclosure. Descendsion, been around for, 12 years?
13.
13. Wow. 13 years. I actually played rhythm guitar in the band for about, a year and a half.
Little short of a year.
Yeah. Did a lot of fucking killer shows with these guys, man. We opened up for bands like Hinder, Scott Stapp from Creed, Puddle of Mud. Even though what was his name? Wes Scantlin, man. That was crazy, man.
That was a nightmare.
That was a fun show, though, man. I'll tell you what, it was a sold out show, packed house. We were we was the first band to go on, huh?
The first band. We owned that. That's
what I'm saying, dude. Not a fucking single soul was outside during this whole entire set.
It's sad, every story about Wes, probably from 2009 and on is about him just being a total hot mess.
Dude, it was a mess. I remember we had as the show was coming up, we was watching this meltdown happen on the internet. You know what I mean? Just constant.
I know.
And then
he was lip singing up at Rock on the Range.
Yeah, well, he's lip singing at our show too.
I called him out on.
He started fighting with TJ. See, I had the next day after that was his first show. That was TJ's first show, or Rooster's. Sorry, that was Rooster's first show with us because we had brought Rooster into the mix. I'm just gonna call you T. I can't call you.
You
Rooster,
can call me whatever you want, man.
But we brought him into the mix to replace me because I had cancer in my stomach, and the day after the concert for Puddle of Mud, I was on a table at 8:00 in the morning, and so it was wild. So I left early. I didn't see the whole thing when he took his pants off. When Wes Scantlin took his pants off, I was like, I'm leaving. And I left. And I didn't see anything more.
He had some old fat chick up on stage with him, too. He's like, I'm horny. And then he starts taking his pants off, dude. I was like, what the fuck is this dude on, man?
It was a mess.
That's a rock show, though. I'll give him that.
Before the show, man, we're sitting there, I had walked up to him and I introduced myself to him.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And he was all he kind of blew me off. I never got blown off. Everybody I've ever opened up with, they've all been real cool, you know? And this cat blew me off. And he was bright-eyed and normal looking and everything like that. 45 minutes later, he gets back to the thing. They can't wake him up. He is out.
Oh, yeah, dude.
So we did our set. And as I'm sitting out in the back, out in the front, and I'm signing autographs. You know, we really nailed this.
He was
night.
a legit puddle of mud.
He was literally a
dude,
puddle of mud.
I had to walk into the fucking dressing room for something, man. And this dude's all faded out on the couch, dude, it was hilarious.
He was out put it this way, they were supposed to go on. I think it was at 9:15 was whenever they were supposed to take the stage, and at 10:30 they took the stage.
Damn.
It was they couldn't get him awake. I mean, there's people leaving. It was a mess. I mean, I kind of was really hoping that this guy would get his stuff together, and hopefully he has.
I guess they said it I read an article where it says he's 11 months sober or something like that. And if he is, dude, good for him. He is a good musician, man. You know what
11 minutes sober.
Yeah.
Yeah.
11 seconds, 0.5.
11 seconds.
It was something else.
It's unbelievable. It's a new record.
But that was TJ's first.
Dude, they're so good too, or they used to be. I don't know.
Well, they are. That's the thing. The one thing that this band has been able to give me and provide me, you gotta understand. When I started this band, I walked with a cane. I was 120 pounds, soaking wet. You know what I mean? I was sick. I was real bad, and everybody said I wouldn't do shit. And I sat back and I lost band members. I had to go find them. And it's been a revolving door for 13 years trying to get the right lineup. But I always had a goal. And I never let anybody come into my band and tell me what my goal was. Like, as soon as they would try to take me off the path, I'm like, you got to stop. You know what I mean? And I'm glad I was like that because, dude, I got to open up with so many, bands that I grew up listening to. You know what I mean? I'm sitting there in the dressing room. They're 10 feet away from me and like, hey, you know what I mean? It's like, wow, man, this is awesome.
It is a formula that's working for you,
so far.
Like, listen, I'm telling you that this works. Like, you're not going to come in and then start fading out.
Yeah.
Or
You'd be surprised. I had those.
Consistency is a great thing too. That's what you guys have had.
Yeah, one of the best things that happens to me is motivation. When somebody looks at me and tells me, and this was the motivation I needed, like to really punch it up a gear, is this dude. He's you get all these people I started singing with like years ago. I'm talking 2003, 2004. You know what I mean? Before Descendsion even became a band. You know what I mean? I was singing jam nights, hanging out with all these musicians, and I think I was the laughing stock of these guys. You know what I mean? I was the guy that couldn't play an instrument, and I was just up there jumping around singing these cover songs, the same 5 cover songs: "Cumbersome," "Kryptonite," "Black" by Pearl Jam, "Hunger Strike," and I don't even remember what the 5th one was, to be honest with you. 18, I think it was. 18 by Alice Cooper. You know what I mean? It was like the same 5, you know what I mean, all the time, every jam night, never held. And I walked in like I was a rock star. I didn't give a shit. Because I was having fun with it,
Right.
So all these guys kind of looked at me like, I said I was going to start a band. And they're like, okay, James, okay. Yeah, well, now here we are, 13 years later, and I've done everything I said I was going to do with this band. You know what I mean? Like, I told everybody my first band practice, I said, I'm going to open up for Fuel and Scott Stapp from Creed. And everybody in my band at the time looked at me and started laughing at me. They're like, yeah, okay. And back then when on your first band practice, if you've never had a band before and you say something that outlandish, that's like walking outside in the middle of the night, looking up at the star and saying, one day I'm going to walk on that thing. You know what I mean? That's the difference. That's what it's like. So you figure, man, that's why you see on the internet all the Scott Stapp jokes about me. Everybody always brings Scott up to me. Oh, Creed, whatever. Well, guess what, dude? I did it. You know what I mean? And I did it very hardcore too. And so what I did was, what people didn't know was I was making notes. Every time somebody would tell me, yeah, that'll be the day, and laughing at me, I wrote their name down on a piece of paper. If I would have thought about it, I would have brought that notebook and showed you. I could have reached across the table and handed you a notebook. It has over 45 names on it. Each one of those people laughed at me when I told them I was going to do this. Each one of those people, whenever I got the Scott Stapp show, each one of those people had me at their front door knocking. And I said the same bullshit lie to them, and they bought it. And I'm sorry if you're listening to this and you're one of the people I'm talking about. I apologize for lying to you, but I got the ticket sold. I said, you told me if I'd ever open up for Scott Stapp, you had to be there. So how many tickets you want? You know what I mean? And that's how I sold him the ticket. So ironically, the day of the Scott Stapp show, that was the biggest show of my life. That was like dream come true. That was my thing. Me and Scott have a 20-year history. You know what I mean? And for me to go meet him in 98 and change my, start formulating my life to a certain degree. And then 5 years later saying, okay, I'm going to become a musician now. You know what I mean? I'm going to form a band, and then I'm going to open up for this guy. And then 9 years later, I actually succeed at doing that. That was a big step for me, you know what I mean? Through brain surgery and all this stuff that I was going through. And I was sitting in the back, and my band was, Descendsion was on stage, and they was, getting geared up, and they started playing the intro to one of the songs we were starting with. And I'm sitting in the back, and I remember that I saw Chad from Black Label Society was playing for Scott's band at the time. And I was looking at his drums, and there was a stage list on the side of his drums, and we had, for the first time, and like Drusky never saw this before, there was a touring band from Australia called the Monks of Manoir, and they was opening up for Scott. They was touring with him. And here we are, the local band. We were supposed to start the show, and somehow or another, we got bumped ahead of Monks. So Monks opened the show, and then we went in after them, and then we actually opened up directly for Stapp. And so as I'm sitting there, I'm looking at the stage set on the side of the drums there, right? I look over, and I wasn't nervous at all, because Scott told me before the thing, we gave him a hug and everything. He signed my book, and we sitting there having a conversation. We're boys, And he said, don't be nervous. I was like, yeah, I'm not going to be nervous, man. It's a show. You'll see. And when I looked over at this piece of paper, and the show started, and I'm behind stage, my band's on stage, and I'm waiting for my entrance to come out. There's a piece of paper hanging on Chad's drums, and when it come to Descendsion, there was a thing that was circled, and it was in red ink, and I wanted to grab it to keep it, you know what I mean? But I didn't know if they needed it or not, so I left it alone. But right next to Descension's name, it said, must watch, with a big red circle around it. Then I got nervous, right? I was like, oh, shit. Oh, my God, And when I popped out of the stage, and I believe we're one of the few, if not the only local band like in this area that's actually taken the main stage at Latitude 360 before they shut down. You know what I mean? So that was a big thing, too. That was like a theater. It was beautiful. So I get out on stage, and I'm jamming. I just happen to look out in the first 3 rows. Right, and it's all the people that always told me that I would never succeed and laughed at me through that whole thing. And I got to sit there and complete my dream right in front of them. And then we was doing the song Questions that Descension has, and I look over, and there's Scott on the right side of the stage peering through a curtain at me, just ear to ear smiles. You know what I mean?
Like I am right now.
Yeah, it was awesome,
That's
man.
how it was like for the second show too, man. I'd peek over, man, and we were playing at the Altar Bar, the second time around.
I missed that place,
I was
man.
in the band whenever they
Altar Bar
opened
was
up for
great.
him the second time. And dude, I looked over, man, and I'm on the far end of the stage, you know what I mean? I'm in, because there's so much gear up on the stage, dude, so I'm, buckled down in, one little corner, dude, so, I couldn't even thrash around like I normally do. I always did this thing, remember when I used to put my foot up on the monitor?
Right,
just,
yeah.
That's a good feeling. That put it
yeah.
on.
Oh, yeah, dude.
I love that feeling.
That's good for a singer, too. I don't know what, it just gives you some balls or something.
I looked over, man,
Like,
and there
this
was
is
Scott,
mine.
dude, on the side of the stage, man, the whole time, you know what I mean? He was fucking into it.
I ran
and
past
then James
him, yeah.
busted his ass on stage.
Yeah,
He tripped over a cable or
the
something. Dude, there was so much gear.
I was wearing these new boots, right?
You were falling, yeah.
Okay, so I was wearing boots, these new boots, okay? And because the Latitude 360 deal, we had bad sound. We couldn't hear each other on stage or nothing. Somebody messed with the sound or whatever.
I hate that.
It was bad. So, but we got through it. It was great. But
Just pretty much just follow the drummer.
yeah, that was
all you
it.
hear is
That's
drums.
exactly right. For me too, because I couldn't
That
hear
sucks for a singer
if
because
I went,
you kind of have to harmonize with guitar.
right.
That's when
Yeah.
Swank was in the band.
If I went to the right side of the stage, I lost my bass. If I went to the left side of the stage, I lost my guitar. All I heard the whole time was nothing but drums, and was hoping that he was on time because I was singing along with the drums the whole time.
Swank's great, though, man. He was
So-
always good for keeping time.
Reliable, man.
When we went to the Altar Bar and opened up for Scott the second time, right? That's my home. You know what I mean? The Altar Bar was my place.
You guys played the Altar Bar a lot. Actually.
Dude,
They were like
we
the house band.
love we love the Altar Bar. The Altar Bar is very good to us, right? So I had the thing. I started up on the balcony, right? And I made my way through the crowd. I walked right past Scott Stapp and didn't even know it. You know what I mean? Because I was just focused. And I decided I was going to make Aaron, the bass player, I thought I was going to make everybody laugh, right? So when I got up on the stage behind the guitar player, I got on like I was walking like an Egyptian, right? And you can see it. It's on YouTube. You know, it's like no secret. I'm walking like this, and I turned around and slipped and sang the second verse on my back. It was great. It was great. And then after that show, I remember going out, and I was meeting with Scott at the bus, and we was talking. And I said, "You see me fall?" And he did one of these. like, yeah, you did. Yeah, he saw me. But, yeah, that's the day that I asked him to put a song that he wrote called Somber. Dude, have you ever heard Somber?
I don't know.
Look,
Would it be Scott? It wouldn't be.
It wouldn't be Creed. It's Scott Stapp. Yeah.
Okay.
But it's Somber. And he wrote it, and it never got released. It got put online, but it never got released. And I told him, I said, by that bus, I said, man, you got to put that on an album. You know what I mean? That song is so powerful, you got to put it on an album. And then he got hooked up with the Art of Anarchy and started that, and they put Somber on there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the next time I got the chance to see Scott after they released that album and I got my hands on the album, I was like, he put Somber on here. I seen him up at Jurgles and I walked up to him and I was like, hey, by chance did you put this on because of me? And he said, yeah. And I'm like, damn, that's, you know what I mean? I walked away with an ear-to-ear smile on my face like, wow, man, I got Somber on an album. That's great.
See, I love that's a perfect planting the seed, man. It was a 98, you said?
Yeah.
That's a beautiful planting the seed. Like, and because you want to go out and make him proud, too.
Yeah, well, that's,
You know?
what, everything that I've done, I get a lot of flack from these metal bands around here, these heavy metal, hardcore death metal bands or whatnot, because I don't know if I'm mainstream or I'm Christian or what. I don't really know what the deal is. But either which way, they don't like me. It's not my band that they don't like. It's James Keller that they don't like. Descendsion just kind of falls in the whim with them. But, like, I don't do anything to appease anybody. You know what I mean? But there is one little thing in my mind that tells me every time I do something that is, and believe it or not, what I'm about to say has gotten me out of so much trouble. You know what I mean? Because
Let me write this down here.
yeah, well, back in the day, man, there was no ramifications for me. You know what I mean? Before I changed my life around, I was a loose cannon. You know what I mean? I was doing anything I wanted to do at any given time. Didn't care who it bothered. Didn't care what it was. And then I decided to change when, God decided to strike me down and make me sick. I said, man, I really got to change my life, But then I started working for the goal of music. So then it started being like, well, if I do this, is that going to make Scott embarrassed or is it going to make him proud? Because after all, I'm a product of Creed. Right. You know what I mean? I would not be a musician today if it wasn't for the band Creed. All these people that jumped on the bandwagon about mid-98, 99, 2000, with Arms Wide Open and all that, and it just got overplayed and everybody started ragging on them and all that. It's
the Nickelback syndrome.
Yeah, right.
Dude, I'll tell you now.
They say it's Nickelback syndrome, but Creed was before Nickelback.
Oh, yeah. Like the first music video I'm an IT guy. The first music I ever freaking downloaded, oh my gosh. My Sacrifice.
Love that song,
dude. That video was powerful. Like, I got a little goosebumps. The first music video, I sat and waited 5 hours for that son of a bitch for 2.5 minutes or whatever it is, dude.
Yeah,
just to see him in a rowboat, just to be like, I'm the coolest.
What a lot of people don't understand, man, is like, and when we have enough for him the second time, you know what I mean? I got to meet Scott. You personally introduced me to the guy, dude, and he was the sweetest motherfucker I've ever met in my life, dude. Really humble. Didn't like snub me or anything like that. He even took pictures, he brought us in on what was supposed to be like a closed
VIP.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, VIP meeting.
He brought my girlfriend at the time. He was pregnant with my kid. Skip, he was there.
Yeah, Skip. Dude, growing up, I was next door neighbors with Skip. He was like my best friend growing up. He's a lot younger than me. Especially, there's a big difference from when you're 12 and he's 7. Like, there's that big difference.
Sure.
Like there is between 16 and 12.
Yeah.
Kind of idea. And dude, he wouldn't be as influenced into music if it wasn't for Creed. And then he brought me on to them.
Seen them when he was young, man. Dude, he was so fucking starstruck. Remember when he met Scott? You were there, dude. He was so starstruck.
Didn't really have much to say to. Yeah,
no,
dude, that was his childhood rock star, man.
You mean the world to me, dude.
And then Weathered and oh my god, that album blew me away. That's whenever I came really hard into him. When you hear that, oh my god, what is it? Is it just called Bullets?
Bullets, yeah. Dude, Bullets is a great album.
That's a rock my
great
face,
song.
dude.
Yeah, walking around, I feel the sounds, the earth seeking release.
That song touched me as a kid. I had anger.
Yeah. Well, you got to figure.
It was a good, clean song too.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, it is what it is. That's the thing. That's the one thing I can honestly say about Creed. Whenever, like I said, before everybody jumped on the Creed bandwagon, mid 98, 99, whenever they really started blowing up, you gotta understand, in 97, before anybody knew who they were, I was rocking this band. They was an independent band that I had got sent to me, and I was jamming with them. You know what I mean? I've known them for, that's been my band.
They come out of, Florida, right?
Yeah, Tallahassee, yeah. Orlando, Tallahassee.
Well, I think they made a big jump from Human Clay, wasn't it, to other
the
record labels or something like that?
Put it this way. Let me just say that when it all started off, I was front row at the graffiti club in Pittsburgh when I met him. That's when Scott gave me the ring, and that's when, my life kind of was, that's when Descendsion was formed in my brain. It was the moment that I was like, I can do this, So that was March 5th of 98. Then I seen him again in September, and we went from the small graffiti club, smaller than the Altar Bar, mind you, to the IC Amphitheater, which was a huge outside stage one time. You know where the soccer place is up in Pittsburgh after you go through the tunnels right there on
the amphitheater. They used to just like build right there.
Yeah.
Okay,
right there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, right there on Carson Street. You know what I mean.
Yep.
But if you go through the Fort Pit, as soon as you come out, you look down at Dre on the right.
There's a band playing.
Yeah. So I seen him at the IC Amphitheater with Fuel and Finger 11 at that point. Okay, at the IC Amphitheater.
That'd be a good show.
It was great, dude. I was front row for that, and then
I'm a big Fuel fans.
And then I was front row for them in 2000 at the Mellon Arena. So I went from a small bar to an arena and I was front row at all these concerts, and I realized that you could see pictures that I've taken from the crowd in all these concerts where the stage was equal with me, then it was a little higher, you know what I mean? And then at the Mellon Arena, I'm looking up at his feet, you know what I mean? Because the stage was so high and it had a T throughout the crowd. It was great. I mean, just watch my friends to blossom and get so huge. But then that came with the hate, you know what I mean? The bullshit of the people want to, with arms wide open, and they want to make fun all the time, and then they start tagging him and everything, and it caused for a lot of problems, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but they still know every fucking word to that
they
song.
do. You know what? That's funny because I mentioned
Oh
we spoke before we went on air about all the hate that got my Facebook depleted and stuff like that a couple years ago, and that's funny because one of the, and I'm not gonna give them their names or nothing like that, but one of the videos that came across to me, the people making fun, was, "What's your favorite song by us?"
In Plain Sight.
In Plain Sight, right?
Yeah.
And I got the music video to In Plain Sight, right? So they send me a video of this guy behind a bar playing In Plain Sight, and he's singing my lyrics, and he's mimicking me, making fun of me, right? And I started thinking, and before that, it was an Arms Wide Open video. You know what I mean? They were sending it to me. They was just harassing the shit out of me. But I made peace with it when I seen that video. The best thing they could have ever done, making fun of me in my video, was do that video to me. Because I sat back and I was thinking, dude, I don't even know you. You know what I mean? I don't know your band. I don't know your songs. I couldn't tell you one word that you've ever sung. But I do know that you know In Plain Sight because you're singing it verbatim to me. You know what I mean? So thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Right.
That's so their hate comes with whatever.
I forget who said it.
Like,
But
thanks
any
for the
press,
view, man.
Yeah, any press is good press, man. Good or bad.
Yeah. Well, first when you got a bunch of people coming at you left and right that you don't even know, calling for your death and everything, I'm like, what the hell happened? What'd I do? Like, I pissed somebody off with that, But then after a while, it's just like. Now it's like...
It's the cool thing to hate,
yeah,
the local popular band.
Now it's like, okay, hate on me.
It's like all the punk that we have left. Like, we don't dress and be like, oh, I'll shit on their chest. Like, punk used to be, it's like, yeah, dude, they suck.
Right.
Like, well, tell me why. You know.
They're Scott Stapp wannabe band. Yeah. They're Creed wannabe. That's what I hear. I'm a Scott Stapp wannabe.
Everybody's a wannabe.
Yeah. I think if you're in a garage and you start a band, you're a wannabe something because that's why you do it. You know what I mean? We do it for the love.
Who influenced you? That's who you want to be.
That's exactly right. Everybody, every musician out there has been influenced by somebody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Look, I mean, there's really not much left to do. Unless you're like you can't even take a shit on stage anymore. Like, nope, it's been done.
Right.
It's yell and and throw it at people. Like, damn it, how can we be original? You can't.
It's so hard.
It really is.
The only thing you can do to be original is to write your own songs.
Just write a song.
To be honest. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I say this. One of the biggest things people ask me, and I get asked all the time, like, it's funny because, like somebody asked me about my success, and I'm thinking to myself, well, let's see, I'm not really too successful. I'm still in Weirton. I'm still in my house. I'm still kind of struggling to stay alive. They're like, oh, no, man, how do your band success? I'm like, okay, well, let's talk about it. Why have me and Brian Davies been able to go through so many lineup changes and still continue to sing 13 years later. It's because we're honest. You know what I mean? It's like everything in my lyrics, everything that we put on that band is honesty. You know what I mean? I'm putting the hell of my life in your ear, and at the same time telling you how I changed it without you even knowing about it. You know what I mean? Listen to In Plain Sight. I say straight up in Plain Sight, I've been through hell and I'm back through the prayers that you've lacked. I've seen you smile while you walked away, but now you come back begging, afraid that my heart's breaking, but I moved on. I won't look back. In other words, like, thanks for your support. Fuck you for not being there for me. You know what I mean? And it's like, people's like, wow, that's what that means. Yeah, that's what it means. You know, that's why in the video I'm walking with a cane. Because I walked with a cane, and everybody just was like, I'm not supporting that guy. He walks with a fucking cane.
He's not cool.
He's not cool. He's an old man.
What's wrong with you, bro?
Dude, that video shoot was so fucking fun, man.
It was fun doing that.
It's
a good
my
video.
birthday, too, dude. It was like my 24th or 25th.
He didn't even tell us till later.
So that October feel gave it, like, especially when they're coming up the stairs.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I like that. Like, it's got some rustic feel. It's just October.
This was just an abandoned building, dude.
Yeah.
That's all it was. We needed we needed power. Why do we need power? We need power for something, for the lights, right? So we had to run a generator. And if you look in the video, look in the back of the
we
drums.
also had to do that to run sound so we can be on cue with the music. We had
Well,
you gotta play the music.
Well, we had that through these wireless rocks. that we played.
Yeah,
Like the
that's
big
right. I
boxes.
forgot about that.
Yeah, big, like, looks,
What they walk around, like, at festivals with, and, like,
It looked like a rock, dude.
it looks like a rock.
Really?
With a
That was just
speaker
a
in it.
speaker,
Yeah,
yeah.
my dad had them, and I got a couple now, too.
They're fucking loud.
But,
too,
like,
dude.
they're pretty loud. So we was able to hear, too, a little bit. But Gary was pretty much hitting those drums.
yeah, but if he's hitting the drum, that's what I was saying.
Yeah.
You can't.
Yeah.
There's no,
Well,
like,
see, the
acoustic
sad thing is,
back.
people don't know. Gary quit the band before that video was shot, and I was, he quit like 2 days before or something
I
like
was
that.
at his house when he got the
And
call,
I was
dude.
text message if you think
Yeah.
about it, and
Oh,
I was
yeah,
like,
text message,
I was
yeah,
like,
that's right.
man. So me and Gary was not on the same page at all, and like I actually was looking to get Brock because he had introduced me to Brock. Rooster had introduced me to Brock, and I had brought Brock Berkheimer in, and he when I listened to him listen to In Plain Sight on his headset and then start drumming, it took him 3 times before he had the whole song. And I'm like, that's our guy. And that was the night before we started filming for this video, like the day before the video shot. And I was like, well, I don't even want, if he's quitting the band, I don't know, this guy's going to be taking over. I want this guy. The only reason why Gary got in there is 2 reasons. One, because I still loved Gary. He was still my buddy, even though he was
Still
kind of a dick
Schwanks.
move.
Yeah. Hey, that, not to you, but that happened to us before. What he did.
Just one day, just decided he wasn't.
Well,
no part of
I
it.
threw a big show over at Legends. That's when me and him were in that metal band, and like the show was a week away, and we're pumped. We're gonna headline it. We're gonna have like Nova Prospect or Karen Page, all them play, and Nathan King's band back when they were I forget.
Angel Light, right?
Angel Light,
And
yeah.
I mean, it was a big show I threw. I loved it. And then they're like, "Yeah, you guys are out of the band." I was like, "Dude, you realize how much money I just spent on the show?"
Yeah.
You know, I literally, and then I turned around and made nothing out of it. It was a lot of work, you know. I paid
Right.
for flyers, nice flyers, you know, and then I had to turn around and pay another band again, and I was pissed. I was butthurt. So what he pretty much did to you don't feel bad. He had done to him. So
But it's okay.
just,
It's like,
just letting you know.
everything happens for a reason, you know what I mean? Like I like me and Gary, we still have we'll text each other, and we had not too long ago we had a Star Wars day where he came over early in the morning and we sat down at my house and just watched every Star Wars
Hell
movie
yeah.
there is. You know what I mean? You can't beat Star Wars. as far as
Fucking
I'm
love
concerned.
Star Wars. And guess what I'm doing on Sunday?
What?
Floor tickets to Extreme Rules.
Yeah, that's what's up, man. Tomorrow I'm going to a house show in Wheeling.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we didn't
See,
get
I was
to
gonna
the
do that. I was
Extreme
either gonna
Rules.
get front row to that, but I went by myself. I bought one like second row SmackDown live ticket, and like the people left before like SmackDown was even over. So I went to the front row because I was by myself.
Sure.
So it was awesome. I got front row.
By the way, you never have to be by yourself at a wrestling show. You always got me to call. I will drop everything.
It was
and be
last
there.
minute, too.
I'm just saying.
Literally, I bought the
if
ticket,
You ever
got in
have
the
an
car, and
extra?
left.
I'm just saying, if you ever have an extra ticket and you think you're gonna go by yourself, you just call me and I will be right there with you.
All right.
I'll even bring my belts, and you have one, I'll have one. We'll just do that. We'll just be total marks.
How did I love wrestling?
Dude, he's got legit like replica belts too, man, hanging up in.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I got the.
He's got the woman's title, of course.
I don't have that, unfortunately. No, I wanted it. I did, you know what I mean? Because how awesome can you know what you could do if you have a women's championship and a men's championship and you're in a relationship with a chick that's kind of cool?
That's a great idea.
Yeah. So, fight for the title, But, yeah, man. So, like.
Last man standing.
But that In Plain Sight video, that was, dude, I did a documentary on that video just because of this. I needed everybody that would watch that to say, oh shit, is he talking about me? And if you asked yourself that question, then yes, I was talking about you. You know what I mean?
Like at first I didn't understand like any of it. I'm like, why is this so long? And then I was like, oh, it's a music video. Like it took me a while,
Yeah.
Because when it came out, I just was like, I'll watch James' video. And then I was like, oh, this is actual like Descendsion music video going on here.
Yeah. It was our first one. You know what I mean? We're about to film the second
We went from
one.
like interviewing the mayor to like, whoa, this is really good. I'm just glad that you guys put time and effort into it,
Yeah, me and Mikey D'Amico, we wrote that video in 4 hours.
Nice.
Yeah.
Like that day or?
No, the day before.
Okay.
Like we met on Thursday. No, wait. We met on Friday. And then Saturday, we filmed the beginning sequence and the ending sequence with me and the desk and the gun.
That was done very well, how blacked out it was around you. And
Well, we went down with no lights at all in this building, and then we hung a light over top of this thing. We cut off all the light from the outside by blocking the light.
Yeah, didn't that shit catch fire? Like something caught fire, didn't it?
Yeah, the light did. The light we made above. Like as I'm sitting there, and I'm like, before I walk away, you know what I mean? After I put the gun back in and I get up and I walk away, I'm waiting for this to go down. That's why the phone. If you look at the phone, there's little bloopers in there. Look at the phone, you can see that it didn't have the cord in it. You know what I mean? Sitting on the desk, you can see where the cord was supposed to be plugged into it because I hit the thing because the light above me started bringing down fire. So as I'm sitting there, there's a fire above my head as we're doing that. Yeah, the light caught on fire because we made a makeshift cone. So it
was straight down on you.
Yeah, and the cone that we made caught on fire because the light got so hot, so it just started dropping flames on me.
Oh shit!
Yeah, so like I was pretty nervous sitting there. I didn't want to catch on fire.
Dude, we did a whole entire video too, man. Like, 'cause we had multiple locations, but what's cool about that is we were like literally like next door to each other. We did some in the bar,
in the pub, yeah.
Yeah. And then the abandoned building right next door. And then, the sequences where he's walking down the street and all that, you know what I mean? Like, that was all done, like, within fucking 20 feet of each other.
Yeah,
you know what
at
I mean?
least, yeah. And we had, the part of the bar in that video that wasn't supposed to happen, there was supposed to be a completely different sequence for the second verse where I was going to act like I was all drugged out and just making a fool of myself or whatnot, because that's what people expected from me, because people say I've changed and this, that, and the other. And that's the beginning part is like, it's been overheard that I'm not the same. The fact is I've never changed, you know what I mean? So I was going to make it like, I was going to make myself drugged out. I was going to, put everything. But we have a fan, Rachel Adel, and she was able to come down to be a part of this video because that's her favorite song. And she is our #1 fan. So I thought, and she wanted it to be a surprise. Thank God the person that went and got her called me beforehand and let me know, hey, we're going to go get her because she's confined to a wheelchair. You know what I mean? I was thinking, well, if I can't get her there and I can't get her up there, everything was on the second floor of that building and then the steps and everything in that building, so I couldn't even get her part of that. You know what I mean? And then you had to walk in on the sidewalk. She would have sat too low to be seen too much. You know what I mean? And I was worried about that. So the complete second verse of In Plain Sight was rewritten that morning.
No shit.
Yeah, and the people that said they were going to be a part of that, I couldn't find them. So I ended up just grabbing people I didn't know and saying, will you sit here? Hey, I need you guys to laugh at one another right here. And they're like, okay. So they had no idea what they was doing.
Okay.
So as I'm
a lot of
sitting,
randoms in that video, dude.
yeah, as I'm sitting on the other side of the bar, you see the Pirates game. The TV was supposed to be shut off. TV wouldn't shut off. There's a Pirates game playing over my head. You know what I mean?
Because it makes it look authentic. You know.
Well, yeah, but it wasn't supposed to happen because of trademarks and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So there's a Pirates game over top of my head, and I'm sitting there, and these two girls are laughing, and they don't have no idea what they're laughing at. I just told them, I said, laugh and look, and that's the thing. And you can see it plain as day. Then they get back to me after the video got debuted. You made us bitches. No, yeah, I did. And then, you know what I mean? We have a sexual predator in the video by accident. You know what I mean? We didn't know she was going to become a sexual predator. She's walking with Tish and stuff. It's a nightmare. I told them
it doesn't matter. Yeah. How were you supposed to know?
At the time, we didn't. You know,
everybody's had a sexual predator on their TV. If you know what I mean?
Hollywood, man.
Yeah.
I swear to God, I'm going to do this catch a predator motherfucking shit here. Where you like that dude from Dateline? You know what I'm talking about?
That would be fun to do, or an undercover boss one day.
I'd love to do an undercover boss.
So you do a lot with the community. You know what I mean? So on the 28th of July, you're actually putting on a show. Can you talk a little bit about that, man?
Yeah, man. 20th of July at the Weird Event Center. It shouldn't hurt to be a child, and we're gonna have two key speakers. We're gonna have Nick Taggart. He's breaking his silence over some stuff that had happened to him that went on News 9 and so forth. We're also going to have Terry Davis the second, and the band's being played is we're going to have Zach Taggart, Nick's twin brother. He's going to play the national anthem on the guitar to bring us in. Eric Holsinger is going to be on stage playing as the gates open. He wanted to be a part of it. He goes, I'll play even when the gates open. I said, okay, there you go. But at 7 o'clock, the show begins. It's a free concert. We have the Sound Below from here in Weirton playing. You guys know those guys, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Brennan Davies.
Yeah, I know Cody real well. He used to wrestle with us. Me and Cody was my first bass player ever in my band.
Cody.
No, Cody used to play with another one. But we, me, him, and now Robbie wrestles.
Yeah.
Like we were all best friends, man.
I know Cody very well.
Oh, God.
I know Cody very well because me and Cody used to date a pair of sisters.
Right here is an old DVD. There's me. There's Robbie.
Oh, this is great.
This
is great, dude. You did it. You really are into wrestling, ain't you?
I love it, dude.
Holy shit. This dude just handed me like a backyard wrestling thing. Dude, can I take this home and watch it?
That's the only one I can make you a copy. Because that is the only copy.
Dude, he goes through 60 fluorescent light bulbs in this thing, man.
That's fantastic.
He's like 15.
Here, put this back up. We're going to talk about this in a second. There's no way you're going to... Put it right there.
We'll talk about it after.
We got to, because there's no way I can not talk about that. Right. But anyway, so, me and Cody go way back. Like I dated a girl for 5.5 years, and I met him because he was dating her sister. So we had a lot of hanging out to do, and he actually bought my old house up there in Fallsville on Allegheny Street.
Oh yeah.
With the pool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was Descension's home for 2 years in that 5.5 car garage.
Wow, I love that garage.
Yeah, me too. I loved it too.
It stinks because right when he moved in is like when everybody kind of started going their separate ways.
Yeah. So. But it's funny because Cody always reminded me, it's so funny because it's like he marked himself. And Cody, if you're listening to this, I don't want you to be upset with me. I'm just being honest. But he kept looking like he'd always wear sweaters like Kurt Cobain, and he wore his hair like Kurt Cobain. And then one day with the kicker, right? I was at my house, and like I said, Cody, it's a true story. So please don't be upset with me. I love you, brother. You know I do. But I'm sitting in my house, and I'm watching this Nirvana thing. And because me and you, Rooster, we watched the Nirvana thing at my house, too.
Oh, the montage of
Yeah, that was fucking nuts.
That was the night before we opened up for Hinder.
We'll get into that in a second. that movie was creepy. But anyways, I always watch documentaries. Like, my thing is documentaries. I love them. I love watching alien shit. I'll go to as far down the rabbit hole you care to take me. And I love to watch, stuff like music stuff and podcasts. Those are my things, besides wrestling and music. So I'm watching this thing on Kurt Cobain. Yeah, that's why we get along so well. And I'm watching this thing on Kurt Cobain, and they're talking about his constant stomach pains, and there's a part on the Unplugged acoustic on Nirvana where he stops playing for a second. He's like, he got this pain in his eye, and he starts playing. And I can't.
Oh yeah, that was.
Where did you
Where'd
sleep last night?
Yeah. But
Shiver.
yeah, but the look he gave when he did it, I mean, they centered on that in this documentary, and we're talking long time ago, 12, 13 years ago when this has happened. You know what I mean? When it's all, then that's how long I've known Cody, for a long time. I mean, shit, he bought my house 10 years ago because I bought my house here 10 years ago. You know what I mean? So that's how it kind of assimilates. And I looked at the person that I was with at the time, and I was like, next thing you know, I'm going to hear Cody has stomach problems, right? Swear to God, I said that. Later that day, we're practicing with Descendsion over in Steubenville, okay, because we was over at one of our guitar players' basements, and Cody came, and the girlfriends came, right? And we're practicing, and he said he had to go. And when I asked why, the girlfriend looked at me and goes, "Oh, he's having a stomach issue." And I was like, "Oh, what? That couldn't have," you know what I mean? I just said like 4 hours before that, watch that dude have a stomach issue, and then that night he was actually had the stomach flu, I think it was. But it was just like, whoa, did I call that or what? Cody, please don't be mad at me, brother. I love you, man. Is he's still in Sound Blow, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Dude,
he's a fucking phenomenal bass player.
Phenomenal. That's what I was about to say. Dude, I actually, whenever I was looking for a bass player, there was only one thing that stopped me from going to Cody. There's only one thing that stopped me. Because when you, in your life, when you have a life that broke up like mine did, the last thing you ever want to do is reach into that life and pull anything out of it when you're trying to move ahead. And that's the only thing that stopped me from saying, "Hey, Cody, come play for Descendsion." You know what I mean?
Oh, I totally would understand that.
But he was dude, the kid was, I mean, I call him a kid, but, I mean, he's a man, but Cody was phenomenal guitar bassist, man, just phenomenal.
He got good at guitar, too.
I heard that. I don't think I've ever seen him play guitar. He was always on the bass, but whenever I was hanging around him. But the fact is, man, he's a great kid. Got nothing but love for him. Got nothing but respect for him. So, Cody, please don't take that story I just said the wrong way, but that's how it was 13 years ago. So,
right. Same thing. I mean, I totally get it.
You know what I mean? If I'm not going to bust his balls, and what's the sense of even talking about him? You know what I mean? Because it's Cody. I love that. That's a
compliment, boy.
I'd die for that dude.
Who's I don't know who these guys are.
Threefold. Now, Threefold.
After the Fall.
Do you remember a band in Weirton a while back called Tunnelhead?
That's a cool name, but no.
No, they played for the Clarks over at St. John's Arena once. Good band. You know Jeff Miller, the police.
The cop, ain't he?
Yeah, the cop. He's the drummer.
I don't. No way.
Yeah, he's the drummer for that. Dude, great band. It's like it's threefold. It's exactly what it says. Donnie Lamp, Bill Tennant, and Jeff Miller here in Weirton. The singer Bill Tennant. It's a 3-piece band. You got guitar, bass, but there's only 3 of them. There's not like there's a singer that whatever. The guitar player's a singer, all right? And he sounds like Lemmy.
Dude, they're really fucking good, man. They're really they just got this grittiness about them, man.
I like that. And it's a good name, Tunnelhead.
Like
yeah, well, this is threefold. This is threefold. These are 3 members.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Good,
yeah.
man.
I just like that name too much.
Yeah, threefold is is 3 members from the old Tunnelhead.
Cool.
But Tunnelhead used to rock this area, man. It was, as a matter of fact, I got a couple of their CDs at my house. But so threefold's in, and then After the Fall. Now we've never played a show with After the Fall ever. Right. But this is a band that running with Drusky Entertainment and going to different Drusky shows that I've been to. Even whenever because I like to make it a point that even if I'm not on the show, I like to go show support for my promoter. You know what I mean? Right. To go work close with, Drusky Entertainment, because it's by far the best promotion in Pittsburgh, And so I would go to these shows even if I wasn't. If I had a free day and I could get there, I would call up, and say, "Hey, I'm going to come to this," and then they say okay, and then they leave my tickets at the door, and I'd pay for them there, and you go. And I got the chance to meet After the Fall. And After the Fall, are you a fan of Fuel at all?
Absolutely.
Okay, see, this is just my personal thing. Like, I don't know if they even want to be heard like this, but the first thing I thought when I saw After the Fall was they're a young Fuel. Nice. You know what I mean?
That's a good compliment.
And I just introduced myself to them, and it was about a year after I opened up for Fuel the first time. Okay, and so whenever we opened up for Fuel the first time, then a year goodbye, I meet these guys. And so I'm sitting there talking to the bass player and the singer. And I flat out told him, I said, with all due respect, you remind me of a young Fuel. And then the bass player looks at me. He's a bigger guy, too. He's like I'm not fat in any way. He's like stocky, you know what I mean? He looks at me like this wide-eyed expression just out of nowhere. Boom. Yeah, I thought he was going to hit me, you know? I thought he was, he looked like he was about to rock bottom me right there in the middle of this fucking bar, you know? And I'm like, what's up, man? And he's like, that's how I know you. And he pointed at me like, that's how I know you. Like, he was about to go Hulk, you know what I mean? And I'm like, yeah? He goes, I watched you open up for Fuel. What's up, brother? I'm like, oh, thank God he wasn't going to, you know what I mean? Because I thought I was going to scrap with this guy. But the band is one of, after the fall, I chose them because they are by far one of my favorite Pittsburgh bands out there. We've never had the privilege to be on a show with them.
So they don't really ever play this far out?
Not to my knowledge.
Yeah, cool.
You know, this would be no, you know what? They played in Weirton once that I know. I was actually selling tickets for the first time Descendsion opened up for Scott Stapp, and they played for I think it was I can't remember the name of that band, but they was at the Broadview, and a bunch of PA bands came down and took over the Broadview, and I seen them there. You know what I mean? I was like, well, I like these guys. You know what I mean? But that's the only time I've ever seen them in Weirton. You know, but they're gonna gladly take the stage with us here.
Sweet. They used to have a couple really cool shows down at get-togethers. They don't even do that anymore. I mean, they have the
Blues and Shoes, yeah.
But they don't like.
Listen to this, man. I've been trying to get Descendsion to play, and I hope whoever's in charge of Blues and Shoes pays close attention to what I'm about to say. Okay, and I mean this. I can give a shit less if they get mad at me. I have been trying for the past 10 years to get on Blues and Shoes. I go there and I watch all these local acts and this, and I'm always out every year. Who do I talk to? Who do I talk to? I call and send messages, right? My guitar player last year, Brian Davies, had to take a step away from Descension. He had to step away from music altogether for a minute. I mean, after 13 years, he had to get away. They wait until after my guitar player quits. And then they asked me to play Blues and Shoes. I'm like, son of a bitch. You know what I mean?
That's such a small hippie festival, so I imagine they don't even know who's playing half the time. Like,
I would love that, man.
Dude, it's such a cool festival.
It is.
For Weirton, it's fucking cool.
Well, because there's no limitations, you know? It's down there. It's like you get bonfires, you get beer,
it's like our own little mini Nelson Ledges.
Yeah. Like our own little Jamboree to Hills, you know what I mean? Too. Like, putting together this concert for the 20th has been a nightmare because, like, they kept trying to like get me to take the weekend of the Jamboree Hills. I'm like, I'm not taking the weekend of the Jamboree Hills. There's no way. And they're like, well, yeah, this date's here. I'm like, listen, if I do the Jamboree Hills, that means I will lose anybody that's going to the Jamboree Hills. And the biggest thing about this, and you know, there's power in numbers. You understand? There's a power in numbers. I wouldn't have got that detox opened up if I was standing there on my own all those times. You know what I mean? I called out to the public, and the public showed up 1,000 strong on that one meeting and 1,500 the second meeting. You know what I mean? And they had to do nothing but pay attention. If I we wouldn't even get numbers to this concert if I did it on the same weekend as Jamboree Hills. You know what I mean? But the next weekend. No Jamboree Hills, so come down and hang out with me. You know what I mean? But
you have another show too. That's what I wanted to. We'll go over both of them too. What's it? The 21st or 20th?
That's in October. That's what you.
Yeah. That's not. That's going to be acoustic. That's going to be.
That's not till October.
Yeah, October 20th. Yeah.
And he's actually bringing me in on rhythm guitar.
Yeah. TJ's Rooster's going to play. I call him Pecker, but that's.
He ain't wrong.
He's going to come and play with us because our guitarist isn't going to be available for that show, so we're bringing TJ in to play. I mean, to bring him back in with us, and then it's going to be me. Aaron's going to drop the bass, and he's going to pick up an acoustic, and then it's going to be Brock on the drums, and we're just going to acoustically jam out the Wells Township Haunted House.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
That's sweet. Those are fun shows to play, man. I remember when I played there with you guys before, man, I'm sitting there fucking freezing my ass off on stage.
Oh,
man.
it
My
will get
guitar kept
cold.
going out of tune, like
It will get cold, that's for sure.
I got my
man.
face painted up, dude. It took like fucking 2 hours, man. It was fun though.
Now, one of the things I wanted to talk to you guys while I was sitting here is the fact that I love your podcast.
Oh,
Bad
glad
Table
you listen,
Manners.
man.
I do. I love it.
a
I
lot
love
of
it.
hard work goes into it.
Listen, I'm the guy. I sit and I'm one of those people that I'm impossible to sleep next to. You know what I mean? Like.
Well, I wouldn't want to know.
No. Well, trust me, man. You're not good looking enough to lay next to me. But although there's one time he tried, he woke up and he was sleeping on my couch.
Oh, this was the night before the fucking video
I
shoot.
told
dude.
him, I said, look, dude, don't ever come to me with that gay shit ever again. He's like, I swear to God, you were standing right there. I'm like, no.
Dude, look, listen, man. Listen,
Listen to this gay ass shit. If
gonna
you're
tell a
gay,
story
and
real
if,
quick, 'cause this is
listen, I'm not homophobic before anybody calls my name. Listen, I'm just a straight guy. All right, let's just put it that way. If you're gay, there's nothing wrong with it. You do what you're gonna do, man. I'm not homophobic. I'm not talking shit. I don't need no picket lines or nothing like that. I don't need nobody holding signs, calling me names.
Even my gay friends.
You gotta
say
listen
gay.
to this, man. This is a
Listen to
funny
this gay
story.
ass
So-
shit, dude.
So listen, it was the night before the video shoot. I fall asleep on his couch. You know what I mean? He couldn't sleep. He had, the
jitters, man.
The jitters, man. You know what I mean? Because we had to get up super fucking early to go down there and start prepping and getting everything set up. I fall asleep on his couch, man. And I wake up in the middle of the night, dude. And my fucking nuts were itching like really bad, dude. It was like, I was hot. I was sweating. You know what I mean?
Now, keep in mind, I'm nowhere around when this is happening.
He was already asleep at this point.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And I don't know what it was, man. Like, I got sleep paralysis and stuff like that. It could have been linked to this. I have no idea. But I was sitting there, I'm scratching my nuts. And then I'm fucking done scratching my nuts. And I look over and, like, I could have sworn James was sitting on the chair, man, just looking at me, like, weirdly, like, looking at me, like. And then I told him, I'm like, hey, man, apologize to him.
Hold
Like,
up.
hey, sorry.
So I'll get it from here, man. Now, the next morning, now, mind you, I wasn't.
So you weren't even there.
I wasn't even in the room. I wasn't even
He was in the
there.
bedroom
I was
sleeping.
not sitting there. He was on my couch. It was at my house, but I was not there. I was in another room, sleeping with my girlfriend, my lady friend, Letitia. You know what I mean? I'm with her. All right, my Time beauty. I love that woman, keynote woman. And he looks at me, and there's a crowd of people around us. All right, and I'm trying to keep my mind on everything that we're doing. And he looks straight at me. He goes, so, what'd you think about watching me scratch my nuts last night?
He's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
And I just looked over and I'm like, what? He goes, yeah, man, I didn't mean to scratch my nuts that long in front of you, man. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? That's had nothing to do with that. He goes, oh, yeah, man, you were sitting there. I was like, no, I was not. What the
I had to explain, man.
I was like, what is wrong with you?
They probably did that. Just hear me out for a second.
He did. Just hear me out, man. And then he, if you remember correctly, my birthday was not long after that, and they threw a party for me at the Chico Fiesta, right?
Oh, that was a good time, man.
And I'll be damned, dude. We're sitting there with my dad. He starts telling my dad the same story about the fucking nut scratching. They're like, what the
Dad thought it was funny.
Yeah, my dad was uncomfortable laughing. You know what I mean? My father's like, huh, okay. What the fuck is wrong with this guy? You know what I mean?
I was drunk.
That's my,
Please.
I had to tell that story. You knew I was going to bring it up. You had to know.
That's a funny story, man. Makes for good content.
I'll never forget that, man. But I also remember, like I started to say, I love this podcast. Like I started to say, I'm not an easy person to sleep with. I don't sleep well with other people. You know what I mean? So what I do is, because I'm always I get electric shock to me every 5 minutes. So sometimes I'll be sleeping and then I'll be wide awake. So I keep everybody up and down. My girlfriend in 1 minute she's
Is that neurological?
yeah, I got a machine in my chest wired to my brain, and electric. Yeah. Feel right here. You feel that?
And when he gets charged,
freaked me
like
out.
it fucks with his vocal cords. And
That's why my voice goes down the way it does. It goes hoarse.
shit.
Yeah. In 2011, I had brain surgery, and they implanted this
I
device.
never knew that was in there, though.
Yeah, be on that side, yeah. But so
It just blew my mind.
I was gonna die. They said if you don't do the surgery by March, you will not see April. And I'm like, oh, what am I going to lose am I going to get blind? And they're like, no, you don't understand. Your nervous system shuts down completely and it's not able to repair itself and it's getting worse. If you don't do this by March, you won't be alive to see April. And I'm like, well, shit. And I was like, well, what's the side effects? And they said, your voice going to change. I'm like, fuck that. I'm a singer. I didn't open up for my dude. No, I was determined. They said, you'll never perform again. And here I am. I'm still doing it. I'm still rocking. But anyways, when I get the electric charge, sometimes I'll be in a deep sleep and it just wakes me straight up. You know what I mean? So I'm not easy to sleep. So podcasts are my thing, to where I don't have to turn on any television or nothing like that.
Yep. I
got the earbuds in, and I can just lay there and listen. And I've listened to Bad Table Manners ever since its inception, and I'm glad I'm on the first season, if you will, of Bad Table Manners, because this show is awesome. And it deserves to be.
You're going to make us blush.
But no, it should be. Like, my favorite one is the intro when you trip the fuck out.
Oh, dude, I love that one.
Dude, I sat there and I was in bed whenever I was listening to it, And I put the podcast out and I was waiting for the intro of the whole, viewer discretion and all that. And you started talking and you started throwing shit. I started laughing my ass off sitting right there. I'm like, that's some funny shit right there, man. That was great. And then, and long about hoots that I have to call out my boy Skip, because I haven't not been real nice to that guy in the real life. Ever since he showed up at my house one day all fucked up, he walked up to me last year at the haunted house, at the Wells Township haunted house. And he was like, hey, James. And I looked to see who was talking to me. As soon as I seen it was Skip, I just muted and walked away. Like, I've been treating him real bad, so I want to give him a shout out. You know what I mean? But he did a real good podcast last time too. That story where home dude gets stuck in a trunk. Holy shit!
I've never heard that before.
But I'll tell you that Skip and I have a similar story. And I'm going to share my story with you now, and then you can compare it with Skip. Honest, this is a true fucking story. Now, this happened eons ago, okay? I'm talking like early 90s. Put it this way, I was on a BMX bike, all right? And
Did you have the pegs?
Yeah, of course I did, man. I was hopping.
Just had to make sure here.
I rode my BMX bike from my house all the way downtown, all right? And I spent the day with my great-grandmother, all right? Fucking fantastic. It was she would cook for me. My grandma Katie knew how to cook, and we watched wrestling together, and she was yelling at the TV, and it was time for me to go home. So when you go downtown, right, then the worst part is you got to come back up, and that's walking back up a hill. I was on a bike. I get to Cove Road, all right, no, Weir Avenue, okay, and Powerhouse Hill. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm talking about? And as I'm going up Weir Avenue to get to Powerhouse, I stumble across a raccoon. All right? This raccoon has been run over and flattened in the back. And it's just sitting there making all these noises. I'm terrified, and I feel so bummed out that I cannot let this raccoon lay here like that. Okay? So I put my BMX bike down on the side of the road. And I look around and I see this piece of cardboard that somebody had fell off a truck or whatever. And I grab that. Then I grab the stick and I put this thing up onto the cardboard without touching it. And I moved it onto the sidewalk, right? Get it out of the road. And it is just sitting there making all these noises. And I'm like, man, I can't leave it like this. It's going to die. So I pick up a boulder. Like a big rock. Like, I'm talking, I was a little kid, and this rock seemed like it was real. I barely was able to pick it up, man. And I picked this son of a bitch up. And I got it over my head, and I'm like, I am so sorry. And I called him Rocky. He's a raccoon. I had to name him, you know what I mean? I was, I'm so sorry, Rocky. And I slammed that boulder down on that damn thing, right? And it didn't die, man. And it started doing that. I'm like, oh, shit. Try to pick up the boulder, and I'd do it again. And I hit that son of a bitch good 20 times before it finally died. I cried all the way from that raccoon to my front door, man. And then didn't even touch my bike for the whole next day, man.
Very similar story to Skip's, man.
Yeah.
That's 90. That's therapy. That's the therapy we had in the 90s.
Yeah. I was trying to do the good deed by putting the animal out of its misery because there was no way it was going to survive. It was just sitting there suffering. But I always wondered, had I just left it alone, would it have went peacefully? Or did I truly give this animal a bad experience by bashing his head with a boulder? I felt real bad about it.
That's it. the things you probably think about that all the time.
I do, and when I listen, and I have not listened. I have not thought about that raccoon, Rocky. I have not thought about him in probably a good 10 years. Okay, had no reason to whatsoever. Absolutely zero. No, I take it back. I'll get to this story in a second. I thought about him 2 years ago when I went to Disney World when Rooster was watching my house. But there's a story of raccoons I gotta tell you. It's funny as hell. But anyway, so I haven't thought about that Rocky for a long time. At least not in that aspect of killing him and this, that, and the other. And then I'm sitting the other day, right? I'm just sitting there and I'm listening to your podcast. And I'm listening to Skip. And I hear about the pellet gun. And I just start tearing up. I didn't cry. But I started tearing up thinking about how I just bashed that raccoon in, and I felt the pain of that, of what they was going through. Keep shooting that son of a bitch and you wouldn't die because, man, they even if they look like they're gonna be gone, man. I mean, I could have probably saved that damn thing's life. That's what I'm thinking now. I should have took it to the vet or something. Maybe you could have got a wheelchair or something, you know. You know what I mean?
Hey, do they got them cats where they put little wheels on the back?
Yeah, and they would go. I mean, I could have saved that raccoon. Now I look back at it, and that makes me feel.
Probably rabid though, man.
Well, I don't know. I know he did have a good feeling about it. I mean, dude, that boulder was huge.
Damn.
But me and Skip, when I heard that, I called Skip, but Skip didn't answer the phone.
He's been real busy lately.
But I did call him because I was going to say, dude, I share the same story. You know what I mean? I was all by myself, of course.
I told that.
But he didn't answer the phone, so I didn't tell him. Now, the funny raccoon story I got is me and my girlfriend took my stepdaughter to Orlando. We had Make-A-Wish, and we took her to Disney World on this. And they give this villa, and it's really nice, you know what I mean? Really nice, and it's decked out, you know what I mean? It's like you're living in a cartoon for a minute, you know what I mean? And there's wild animals, antelopes, and, you know, all that running around, squirrels and raccoons. I'm sitting on this thing, and this raccoon is the size of a small dog. And when I say the size of a small dog, I mean that's how big this son of a bitch was. It was like a small terrier, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it was just a big old fat one.
It was huge, dude. And it kept coming up to my porch, and I'm sitting there. I was eating a tangerine, and I'm like, get away. And I'm sitting there, get away. Shoot, I'm shooing him. And this thing had balls of steel, man. It wasn't moving. Until finally, I just looked down. The only thing left I had to sue him with was my food, and I threw him the tangerine. I said, "There, take it." And he went and took it. I mean, this tangerine was like this, and I only had like 2 bites of it, so it was still like this. And I watched him bite it and take it up into a tree, and I'm like, "Holy shit!" So I'm thinking I got rid of the raccoon. You know what I mean? The next night. I'm sitting there, me and Tish are sitting there, and all of a sudden, through the corner of the villa, there's a wall here, right? And you guys are me and Tish, all right? Now, you can't see past this wall, so this is invisible to you. So don't even look over here, right? All of a sudden, you see that raccoon pop his head out of the corner, and I'm like, holy shit, and I stood up, I'm like, shoo. And then right on top of it, 3 more. Bloop, 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 bloop. Right on top of him, like a cartoon. And I watched it happen.
I feel like you called me specifically to tell me this story.
I did call you and tell you that story. So I pushed Tish into the villa. And I'm like, go. There's fucking 5 raccoons, man. They were all looking at us. I mean, they just boop, boop, boop. Like one on top of the other, like a cartoon. Just peeking around, smiling with their fangs out. And we shut the villa door, and I'm like, call the security and let them know we got a family of raccoons coming on our porch. And she's like, you shouldn't have fed him the tangerine. I was like, I know I shouldn't have fed him the tangerine. That's not the point. Please call him. And then all of a sudden we're arguing, and then we hear, I'm like, you hear that? Clearly that son of a bitch ain't knocking. So I went over to the window, and they had these little slot things. You can open it up, you know what I mean, like covers of the window. And I open it up, and that raccoon sitting there knocking on the window at me, smiling at me.
No shit.
Yeah, started waving at me when I literally started doing this. I mean, I was like, is this somebody's pet? I mean, this guy. So they went and they had to clear him up and everything. But that's my raccoon story, man.
That's actually pretty cool, man.
It's better than bashing his head on the road.
Well, since we got you on the show, man, obviously you listened to it, so you know the segment that we have called Would You Rather. We're gonna
Oh yeah.
So kids, you know what time it is. We're gonna do our segment, Would You Rather.
Would I rather? That one, Would You Rather, you guys had some pretty sick shit on there.
Oh, yeah. We got some funny stuff, man. We got a whole list full of stuff.
All right. I'm going to ask Rooster first. Oh, I can't even look. My head can't even turn that way. Would you rather not be able to open any closed doors, locked or unlocked? Can't even open them. Or not be able to close any open doors? That's weird.
That's a very weird question, man. Let's see. So, would you rather not be able to open any closed doors, locked or unlocked, or not be able to close any open doors? Well, I mean, you know, if a door is closed, man, you like, okay, say for instance, like, you know, there's a house fire. you can't open, man. You can't open that door. I mean, granted, yeah, I guess like in a house fire, if the fire's outside the door, that doorknob's gonna be super hot. I don't give a shit, man. I'll burn my fucking hand off. You know what I mean? Like,
you could jump through the window
or something. I don't know, dude.
Is there a window though?
Yeah, exactly. So what if you're in a closed room with no windows? You know what I mean? So it's like, okay, would you rather not be able to open any closed doors, locked or unlocked, or not be able to close any open doors? I'd rather not be able to close any open doors. You know what I mean? It's like, all right, well, I got to take a shit, but it's a small price to pay. You know what I mean? So just don't walk past the bathroom.
I think I would prefer not to be able to close any doors.
Yeah.
I figure it like this, and even if you want to get jiggy with your woman or with yourself even, you know, eventually you'll get used to people watching you, you know what I mean? So voyeurism in its
Hey, they
best.
have to do it in jail, man, so, you know what I mean? Might as well
You ever been in jail, bud?
Hell no.
Let me tell you something. I've been there. You know, I spent a lot of time in the Jefferson County jail, man, back in 96, 97. And,
you did a 4-month stint.
Yeah, I did a stint. You know, I got kicked out of the city of Steubenville for a year. You know how bad you got to be to get kicked out of the city of Steubenville? But anyways, I did not like jail. I did not ever want to go back. But you don't know how true that is about people just don't give a shit. So I think, yeah, the open doors policy, I'd rather do that.
All right. So let's see. James, would you rather have to read aloud every word you read or sing everything you say out loud? Now let me say that one more time. Would you rather have to read aloud every word you read or sing everything you say out loud?
I would rather sing everything out loud.
Well, as a singer, I would imagine you would want to sing.
No, because you ever try to read out loud, man? Like, reading out loud sucks, dude. You know what I mean? Like, I can write something. I can write a whole paragraph down. Myself write it, and then have to try to read it in public. And I step over myself every single
jitters,
time.
Yeah.
It's like, no, because, you know what I mean? So I'd rather sing everything, you know? I'll sing everything. That way I can not worry about it.
I'd rather sing everything. Everybody would just think something is really wrong with me. And I'd be okay with that.
I was walking in New York City, Times Square, and on the bench, you know, they have these sayings on benches and stuff.
Yeah.
And on the bench it says, you know you're amongst true insanity if somebody breaks out in a song for no reason. And I break out in song all the time. My grandfather used to do it to me all the time. He used to look at me like, once I was swimming through Turtle Creek, boy, those snappers all around my feet. You know that song, right? So,
I think my grandfather used to sing that.
yeah, it's like both hands covering my ding-a-ling-a-ling. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's the ding-a-ling song. But that's... But my grandfather used to do that all the time. So, like, true insanity, I guess, because, like, I always bust out a song. I'll be walking through my kitchen and be like, well, now I can't think of it now. I'm sitting here talking to you live and everything. But, like, I don't know, just bust out a song. I don't give a shit. Whatever song it is that hits my mind at the time, I'll just start singing out loud. I don't care what's happening around me.
The song I always bust out into is America's Funniest Home Videos.
Oh,
yeah, I don't know why. Stories from your friends next door. They never, like, just no reason. I don't know why.
That is classic, dude. That is so great, man.
I don't know why.
What's that one song? For some reason, I can't think of it right now, man. With the I knows, the 25 I knows in it. I know. I sing it all the time, and I cannot for the life of me think about it right now. Something about, holy shit. Now watch, I want to leave here, and later on tonight, I'm going to sing it out loud. I want to call you guys on the phone.
I know exactly what song.
You know what song I'm talking about, right?
Singing it in my head right
It's
now.
got 25 I knows in it for no reason at all. I think the guy just forgot couldn't think up any more lyrics.
Oh my God, you're gonna.
Is it a modern song?
Yeah, no, it's an older song. It's like
a 90s song or something.
It's
I
no. Yeah, right.
Is it Smashing Pumpkins?
No, dude,
I was gonna say, man, like that
I think
sounds.
it's
Like,
Eric Clapton, if I'm not mistaken.
I was gonna say that sounds like something
Is that
Billy
Eric
Corgan
Clapton?
would do.
I don't know. Let's move on because I can't think of it now.
You can ask the next question,
It's
man.
me. Okay. Would you rather lose your left foot or no, I'm sorry. Would you see? That's why I don't read out loud. I'd rather sing the shit.
Sing it out loud.
Would you rather lose your left hand or your right foot? See, it
Well, I'm
works when you sing
left-handed,
it.
so I'd rather lose my right foot because I'm left-handed. So yeah, there's your answer.
Foot.
Plus, being a guitar player, man, I can't lose my hands. And like I said, I'm left-handed, dude. So if I want to go and beat my meat or something like that, I have to adjust to the right hand. Like I would feel like somebody else is doing
Stranger
it. You know
danger.
what I mean? Yeah. No. Right foot.
Right foot. Absolutely. I could build a peg leg for myself.
Yeah.
I would have to go with the shit.
You could hide the right foot. You can't hide the left hand.
I'd probably have to go. Well, I know a buddy of mine who just lost his leg, and he's doing good. I don't think I'd be able to lose my hand. See, I know a buddy lost his hand too. So like all in the past 5 years, 6 years.
I could sit and play video games forever. Like I'd be all right.
Well, like my buddy Pat, he lost his hand from here in a industry accident from here to here. He just lost it. He just like it's gone from here down.
It sucks, man.
And like Pat would kill me when I tell the story, but like it was hard for him at the beginning, but now he's doing. I mean, he does everything like as if he had his hand. Yeah, he adapted very well, and he even told me about an account, like a sexual encounter he had with his stump, right? And I just said, that's what I did. He started telling me the story, and I'm like, really, man? Like I'm looking at him like. And I had to tell my girlfriend. She's like, "Stop now!" I'm like, "You don't understand,
No,
man.
this story's just picking up.
This actually happened." So I have to say, man, I don't know. I'd have to say my I don't really my right foot though. I mean,
we see your front man. You'd be out there with a fucking hook, like
yeah,
you could be out there. You
a-
need to walk around on stage.
That's a terrible question. Can I change my question?
We'll just say another one. Go ahead. You can ask her.
That's horrible.
Right there on the top, there's one. Yeah.
No, go ahead. You guys move on. But I didn't see the first one.
No, you're good.
Before I saw that one, it was either the key one or the what, and I don't care.
I was saving that last one. I read that one out. My mind went,
yeah,
it skipped, and I was like, that one's last.
That's the first one I saw. All right, so go ahead.
That one, man. That's a good one.
I'd say right hand probably. My left hand, I mean.
Yeah. Would you rather be reincarnated as a fly or cease to exist after death?
I would cease to exist after I die, and I'm going to tell you why. I fucking hate flies. I hate them. Every time they land, they shit. Now, you ever see somebody eat a hot dog after you watch the fly land on it? It's disgusting because you know that fly just shit on that. And none of that. My dog will take a poo out in the front yard, and I'll be right behind her to pick it up sometimes. Sometimes I let it sit there for a couple of days. I'm lazy. But the other day, I knew she was going to have to go. I grabbed my rubber glove because I don't have a picker-upper in the grass, so I pick it up with a rubber.
It's easier to just put a glove on.
but I put a rubber glove on, so I make no contact, so I don't want anybody going, ew, that's gross. It feels funny, but it is what it is. So I go out, and she drops it, right? And I start, as soon as I see her start to take the stance, you know what I mean? By the way, anytime I see a dog taking a poo, I laugh my ass off. I think it's the funniest thing in the world, no matter whose dog it is.
Stare right at you.
Yeah, they look at you like, I'm trying. Like, some of the faces they make, some of the faces are like, I'm struggling here, man. Come and help me. But so I'm sitting there, and I put the glove on and everything, and I walk over. By the time it took her to drop it and for me to walk over to it, there was 100 flies on it.
Oh,
now,
humidity. Man.
I'm sorry, but I would not want to spend my afterlife as a human. you know what I mean, die, and then come back and just waiting for a piece of dog shit to land in the yard.
And flies only live for like
true,
24 hours.
Yeah, so
You
what
get to
kind of
keep
like
reincarnating as a fly?
why would you want to? You know, fuck a fly, man. I hate flies, dude. I can't stand them.
I hate flies too. There's
Yeah.
one
I'd
down
rather
here.
just. I would want to just cease to exist.
There's a thing I have against maggots too, like maggots. Like I don't eat rice. Like I'm a visual person. Like so, like I have these. Not to take over the show or anything, but I gotta tell you this. So you met Ryan, my brother, right, from North Carolina. Yeah. Like me, for some reason, when it comes to Ryan, I'm always maggots happen. The first time I come up from North Carolina to visit my grandfather, okay, and for the weekend, and I go back, and I get on the bus the next morning, and Ryan's already on the bus, and we're together every day. I just happened to come back from West Virginia too late, and I stayed at my mom's house, and I get on the bus, and I take my seat, and he's talking about this fucking bat. He went fishing, he caught a bat, and I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? I thought he was full of shit, you know what I mean? So he's talking about the bat, you know, and then I get off the bus to go see my mom, and I head down to his house, and it's about 6 hours later, you know what I mean? I'm sitting in his room, and I'm like, no, it's the next day. It's a Saturday, you know what I mean? And, like, he's talking about this bat, you know, throughout the week. And I'm like, Ryan, what the hell are you talking about? You got a bat? He goes, oh, I do. It's in the closet. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. So I get up, and I walk over to this closet. Now, mind you, we're in school, and we're stoners as it is. I opened this fucking closet up, and he's got sliding doors. And he wasn't bullshitting, man. There was a bat. There was a string to a light, and there was a bat hanging there, just hanging there, right? And I'm like, and it's moving. And I'm like, is this thing dead? He's like, yeah, it's dead. I'm like, no, it's not. It's moving. He goes, it's not moving. You're on crack. And I was like, hold up for a second. So I ran in the kitchen. I grabbed this whole thing of paper towels. And I'm like, give me something. So he hands me a razor knife, right? I don't cut it over or nothing. I'm like, watch this, you stupid fuck. I hold the napkins underneath that bat, and I was like, watch. And I tap its head, just like that. And all of a sudden, out the mouth, this big maggot comes flying out of it. Oh. So when I asked him if it was dead, it's because it was moving, right? And I was watching the maggots in the carcass move. So we got it down, and we put it down, and with all the action of moving it around, and whenever he placed it, because I didn't want nothing to do with it, when he placed it onto the barrel outside, it just exploded, and it was all these. And so instantly, I'm on the fence. Everybody's laughing at me because I'm puking, right? A week later, right, I'm going from his house to my house. He's with me, and somebody hit a fox, and it swelled up and everything. And I was like, I've been stepping around this damn thing for like a month. You know what I mean? I'm not even thinking about it. And he has a stick, and he threw it. And by luck, it hits this fox. And by the time we get there, there's maggots everywhere, man.
Ugh. Same thing out at the Resi, man. Deer. People just throw deer carcasses out there. Dude, I put a pile of 7 together, and I was going to burn them all. By the time I put the gasoline on it and lit that match, they all busted out.
Good, dude, it's gross.
So let me ask you a question real quick, man.
I'm just visualizing.
Why the fuck did he have a dead bat in his closet?
Well, that's the thing. I don't think.
Dude, I've caught a bat before.
We were kids, you know what I mean, and he was fishing, and it was like nighttime.
Probably at night. Yep.
So when he casted it, the bat came down and grabbed the hook. So then he's sitting there fighting with the bat in the air, and it was a cool experience, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So and you know, we're kids at the time. We're not, you know, when you're a teenager, you don't think of all the things, you know what I mean? Down the store in North Carolina, there's all these stores that have stuffed bats everywhere. So he just hung it up. You know what I mean?
He already had this planned out. Like, bro, I caught a bat. No, you didn't. Check this out. You know?
Yeah. That's exactly. And he had it, you know, But then, okay, so the fox thing happened, and then his mom got married to his stepdad, right? And they had what we up here in the north call, you know, a roast or a pig roast, right? They call it pig picking, okay? And I remember as they was leaving the pig picking, they said, Kurt's brother's going to come down tomorrow and pick up the bones, right? Well, the next day, all the bones were gone, so we thought. And we had the whole week to ourselves in this house in the middle of summer in North Carolina. 100-degree heat. You know what I mean? 0 humidity. And all of a sudden, the house starts smelling. So we're trying to figure out what's that smell, you know what I mean? And we're going around trying to find the smell. We get all these buckets and we pull them out, and it's the damn pig. It's the leftover pig. And we open it up, and his brother Jacob picked up a bag and stuck it on the top of the picnic table. And I was like, wait. And he has one of those, no, kind of reaching for him. Don't do that. And as soon as he set it on the table, it exploded with so many maggots, man. Right. And then my final story. Endless. Like, I'm talking the whole bag. It was like a water balloon of maggots. You understand what I'm saying? It was a garbage bag. Heavy duty, my ass. That thing imploded, right?
Once it busts, man.
So we go a week later, you know what I mean? And then we start hanging out with my buddy Jason, and he invites us over. And I remember hanging out with Jason a couple days before that, and we had made cheeseburgers, right? Well, we're back at his house. And this was back when, you know, I was a teenager. I was always smoking weed, tripping on acid, doing all the stupid shit that teenagers do. And this was one of those nights. And we got hungry. And he's like, well, let's go to my kitchen. Very immaculate house, clean house. One of the richest houses you could probably be in, you know. Just beautiful house. And we go into his kitchen, and he's like, man, we got cheeseburgers in the microwave. And he opened them up, and I remembered making those cheeseburgers like 4 days before then, and it was still sitting right where I had put them in the microwave. I wasn't eating no cheeseburger, you know what I mean? So I was like, you know what, I'm good on that. And they're like, oh, they're still good. I'm like, nah, I'm good, man. 4 days sitting in the microwave? Nah, man, I'm good. I'm really good. Thank you. I said, I'll take a bowl of cereal. So I get Raisin Bran, and I open the box. And then I realized I got to open the bag, right? And I was munchies, right? So I this big old bowl, and I pour half the box in it, man. And I got this big old spoon, like almost like a salad spoon. It was huge, right? And I'm sitting there, and I'm just munching away, and I'm laughing at everybody as they're eating that week-old cheeseburger. I'm like, you guys are gross, and I'm eating, you know what I mean? And I go one scoop, and I look down, and I'm looking, and this raisin, well, it broke off, and it starts swimming around my spoon. I'm like, what the fuck? And I look down at the bowl. Now, you know that part of Lion King. You've seen the Lion King, right? Who hasn't seen the Lion King? When Simba's down in the gully and the stampede comes, and you see Simba, and Simba don't move, but the whole surrounding area zooms in on him. You know what I mean? It's like, right? Well, that's what happened to that bowl of Raisin Bran. You know, I look down, and all of a sudden, the bowl just kind of zoomed out at me, you know what I mean? Like, my eye scan was like, look at just this, and that's all you're going to see for a second. And I swear in my mind I heard, don't, right? When I looked down and noticed that the bowl of Raisin Bran was bad, and it was full of maggots. Full of that.
Oh, man.
And I sat there, was eating this shit, you know what I mean? So I instantly run to the bathroom, and I am puking, and Jason's mom comes out. James, what's the matter? And I'm sitting there trying to tell her, bugs, blah, blah. You know, they're not understanding anything I'm saying. Then all of a sudden, I hear Jason in the background. Oh, my God, it's bugs. And, like, everybody's standing around this goddamn bowl. You know what I mean? Before they realized it, I had gotten myself calmed down and started to walk out into the kitchen to let them know what was going on. And they're all just standing around the bowl like nothing's going on, talking about how I'm getting sick in the bathroom. So I start to tell them, and I remembered what I saw, and I ate, and I went back and was getting sick, and that's when the whole bug thing happened. So, yeah, fuck being a fly. I don't want to be a fly.
But they never got sick after the cheeseburgers?
No, those sons of bitches. I should have ate the cheeseburgers. You know what I mean? If I would have ate the cheeseburgers, that wouldn't have been my experience. But that was my experience with those damn bugs, man.
Life is silly, dude. It will test you.
To this day, dude, if I get a granola bar, you know what I mean? You know, those kind of with the chocolate covering, whatever, you know, the chewy. Yeah, you get them in the box. I always break them open, and I look real close before I take a bite. And to this day, I still have not eaten a bowl of Raisin Bran. I can't do it. I can't bring myself to eat it. I mean, I'm sure that was just a one-in-a-lifetime thing, but I just can't do it. So would I rather be reincarnated as a fly? Hell no, man. Not even a chance. Because that's how it is, man. That's how they're born, larva. And knowing my luck, that's exactly what's going to happen. See, I'm donating my body to science. You know what I mean? So that I'll just get cremated and everything. That way there's no chance that I'm ever maggot food. Because I don't want to feed the things I hate the most in life. You know what I mean?
It's like I want to add a worm.
Why would I want to do that? So, yeah.
So we're going to talk a little bit more about this show before we wrap it up.
Totally took a
Turn.
turn.
No,
You
it's
didn't
okay.
expect that, did you?
That's the whole thing, man. It's all banter, you know what I mean?
Like, we'll come in with an idea and we fucking rant for 20 minutes. That's why we had to start kind of cutting them down. Like, all right, we'll try to keep it in here. But with guests, it's
Yeah,
totally
don't
different.
cut them down, man. I love these things. Keep them long. People love long podcasts. Trust me. It gives them something to do. If they're working
Like
out.
Joe Rogan does like 2 hours.
Dude,
worth
Joe
of
Rogan
content,
is the
He
man.
puts like
His
2 or
guests
3
are-
And
out.
if you ever listen to, now you're a wrestling fan. You ever listen to Pritchard's?
No. I've
Oh,
listened to
dude,
Stone Cold,
something to
Jim
wrestle
Jarrett's.
with, dude, is fucking awesome, man. One of the best podcasts I've ever listened to. I'm telling you, listen. Go. So, what are you going to say, Rooster?
So basically, so James is putting together this show. It's live July 28th at the Weirton Event Center. Gates open at 6, and the show starts at 7 p.m. He's opening up, well, he's got bands opening up for him too. Special guests are After the Fall, Threefold, The Sound Below. Guest speakers Terry Davis II and Nick Taggart. It's free admission at 3322 East Street, Weirton, West Virginia, 26062. And if you have any questions whatsoever, you can contact James at www.facebook.com/Descendsion. That is their official band site. You can also look them up on YouTube too. You got to check out their music.
You got to spell it right, too.
Yeah, actually, the spelling, and I wanted to bring that up too, because it's not spelled in what you would think. It's actually DESCENDSION, as in descend.
Shun.
Yeah, exactly. And where did the idea from that? Like you told me.
The idea
But
for
the
the
listeners, yeah.
for the band name, Descension?
Yeah, I know it was what Transparent originally. Right?
Yeah, the original name of the band was Transparent, but like we parted ways with the original guy that we have playing guitar, and Brian Davies joined in, and he pointed out that Transparent just sounded so like transparent, you know what I mean? Like, so I was like, oh, I'll have a better name tonight, and so we took a dictionary, and me and my ex-girlfriend, we took a dictionary, and I told her, tell me when to stop. And every time she told me to stop, this happened 3 times in a row. You can't make this up. 3 times in a row, every time she told me to stop. And I even switched the book over and did it that way.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it wasn't like I did it from the same part and whatever. Every time she told me to stop, I stopped, and my finger landed all 3 times on descend. And I didn't want it to be just descend. So I was like, and Descension, the original spelling means anger. Right? And I'm a product of anger. And I didn't want it to be about anger. I wanted it to be about falling from grace. I wanted it to be about what can we do to pick ourselves back up after we fall. No pun intended to the band that's opening up for us after the fall. So what can I name this band? And Descend just kept on coming up. And then underneath one of the words that was underneath Descend was something, and it had the ION, you know what I mean, for action. You know what I mean? And I'm like, well, that's what we're going to do. We're going to add the ION on there. It's going Descension. That's how we're going to do it. And everybody was like, "Yeah, that's it." And that's how Descension got formed right there. They got named anyhow. Yeah.
And this show in specific, it's raising awareness about child abuse, right?
Yes. Yeah. I think, and this might be the most real your podcast has ever gotten, and I apologize ahead of time.
No filter, man.
But I spent the first 12 and a half years of my life tortured by child abuse and overwhelmed by problems of an adult, taking my innocence away and destroying, everything. And the scars that it left behind is something that I had to wrestle with for the majority of my life. And like the whole, you're never going to amount to nothing. You're a little piece of shit, you're a little faggot, this, that, and the other. I mean, it really caused some damage in me. And, a lot of the anger that I had from 13 years old until I got popped for vandalism and get kicked out of Steubenville, there's a lot of rage, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, of me fighting back, you know what I mean? And one thing that I noticed that, the state of West Virginia came and took me out at 12 years old, and they said, "Oh, you're his biological mother. Okay, he's going to go with you." but they didn't vent at all. They didn't do any kind of interview. They didn't do any kind of home check. They didn't do any kind of nothing. They said, "Okay, you're the mom. He goes with you." Well, what they didn't know is the stepfather wasn't ready to have me in the house, and he left me and my mom. And then my mom became dependent on drugs and alcohol, like prescription pills, opiates, and so forth. And we lived underneath a bridge for a month. And then we came up here because I called my grandfather, and he went all the way to Kentucky to get us. And we came up here, and my mom just got a job at did stuff in his Peach, actually. And, we started building our life back up, and then all these people started coming. And then she got and I don't talk a lot about this, but she got herself mixed in with some pretty bad folks, and I was like 14 years old. And I woke up, and I was handcuffed to a tub. I had been pistol whipped in my sleep, and they put me in a tub, and their plans was to kill me. And so I'm handcuffed to this tub, and I woke up, and the water's flowing. It's overridden the floor, and I can hear my mother screaming. And so it took everything in my power to break that, you know what I mean, to get out of that. I put my feet against the wall, and I mean, right. Everything, I strained a lot of shit. But I still got a scar right there. If you look, see right there? Yeah. That's from the handcuff that from me pulling. And so I get out of the bathroom, and I can still hear my mom being, attacked. And so I go to the stove, and I pick up, my mom had this big black frying pan, the old iron. Yeah. And I pick that up, and I kind of like look around, and I see this dude, and I hit him as hard as I can on the back of his head. And I remember he fell like a ton of bricks, but I didn't know he had a compadre in the house either. And they put the gun to my head and was going to kill me. And, it was either I went with them, or my mom was going to watch me get shot right in front of her, or they was going to shoot my mother in front of me. So I went with them, and I was their captor, I guess you can say. I was I did everything they told me to do, everything by gunpoint for about a week before they let me go, and it was traumatizing, to say the least. And I sit back, and now that I've got this platform where when I speak, people listen for some reason. And I only speak publicly about things that I feel that I have the power to change. You know what I mean? I only speak about, change. People look at change like it's a hard thing. It's not. I look at, this was my last fight. I fought the anti-drug abuse. I fought the anti-drug awareness. I fought the anti-heroin epidemic. I got detox open for the people that really was in truly need of it, because I understand the battles of addiction. I understand the battles of that. So I never needed any help getting off of anything, you know what I mean? But I understand the value, because I watched my mother go through it all, you understand? So I had to fight her fight, you know what I mean? And then other people started taking over, and I was kind of like, okay, I'm good. But the one thing I've noticed that nobody in this area, nobody's publicly fighting is child abuse. But yet every time we turn on the news, we see these guys on there for molestation of a child and a sex slave operation that's happening.
Oh, it's incredible.
It's ridiculous.
In the trucking and hospitality industry, just they'll spend hours training you about sex trafficking and things like that.
Yeah.
And what to look out for. I mean, it's a lot bigger than people think.
It's
just because
way bigger.
We're here in a nobody's land.
But see, that's the thing.
Pittsburgh, man, it could be everywhere.
You say that we're here in a nobody's land. You don't understand, Derek. It's happening right here where we live.
Yeah,
I just meant
the sex trafficking.
But you understand what I'm saying? It's happening right here where we live. But because we're so small, people think that it's not happening here. Go to Walmart and ask anybody if they know anything about child abuse, and see how many people run up to you to talk about it. Nobody. Right. Zero. And that sickens me to my stomach that we can sit there and watch somebody on the news go through this stuff and hear about these horror stories. Like Nick Taggart, you're going to talk to him about what happened to him and what his stepmother put him through and stuff like that. And you're going to hear Terry Davis' story. And, of course, mine will probably come out a little bit here and there. The horror stories that happen to these kids before anybody finds out that the abuse is happening, and then there's a lot of horror stories about after the fact. And I'm putting everybody on notice, and I hope that everybody that will take the time to listen to this whole podcast and hear this part of it, because I'm putting everybody on notice, and I'm going to say it on stage too, because it's our responsibility to open our mouths and open our eyes and actually do something to fix it. It's one thing to look at the news and say how disgusted and appalled we are by it, but it's another thing to stand up and fight it. And I'm taking it all the way to the governor's office, and then if it doesn't stop there, I'm going to take it all the way to the president of the United States if I got to. This is going to be the fight that I take to my grave. I promise you. It's been the one thing. Child abuse has been the one thing that's been a black cloud over my own life. And I refuse to allow the future to be the same way. So that's what this is all about. Yeah, shit got deep there for a second. Holy damn.
I mean, I just was thinking about when Debnar said one time that like, oh, we just let the junkies, like, before they're even born, you know, like, we don't, what was he saying? He was talking about how they're not even making the parents get off the stuff. They're just waiting until the baby's born, and then they just keep giving it like morphine and stuff.
Oh yeah. I'm talking about like mothers that give birth while they're like junked out on heroin and stuff like that. Then these kids have to do special treatment, and they got to put morphine in their bodies to wean them off of the drugs.
And they don't even want to wean the parents off of it.
Right. And you know what? I tell you, like, when it comes to Dubnar, he's not one of my favorite people in the world. You know what I mean? But I respect the guy, because sometimes, believe it or not, I've listened to the man speak. You know what I mean? And back in the day, I listened to him when he was hanging around and whatever. And like he'd be at a place I'm at, or I was at his house once, believe it or not. And I listened to the guy talk, and the guy makes sense. A lot of what, like, people look at him like,
through some shit,
people look at him like he's fucking batshit crazy.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
He's very intelligent, though.
But he's got a way of looking at things that I can see exactly what he's saying, and I know because I've been in that life. I know exactly what he's saying. Debnar's not always wrong. You know what I mean? And sometimes the way people look at him on the outside, like looking at him from the outside looking in, like, a lot of times I look at him like the same way, you know what I mean? Because he puts himself off like, I'm this person, whatever, right? And the only thing I got a problem with that dude is how disrespectful he is to, like, I'm respectful for his opinion, you know what I mean? Like, his religion, his the way he sees things, okay? I'm okay with that, but he's not respectful to me, you know what I mean? Like, that's my problem with Debnar. But what he says sometimes when he speaks about this kind of topic or whatnot, he's exactly true. He's right, not on everything, but he's right on a lot of things, and I'll commend him for that. Like,
he's got a way of pushing people.
Yeah,
buttons, man.
well, like
He
first of all,
likes to take it to like a level like. And I understand, man. He don't do it now. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
back when he was younger, dude. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
well, like,
he's got his life together.
Yeah. Well, I hope so. I don't know much about the guy. Like my last dealing with him, he got kicked out of the den because of me. And I'll tell you why. Well, I'll tell you why. Well, one, like, I got this machine. I told you guys earlier, I have a machine, and it's tied to my nervous system. The last thing I hate it with a passion is people touching me. Because if you touch me in my pinky, I can feel it in my toes. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I'm a sensitive, like, my nervous system's oversensitive. And he kept touching me and would not stop. And everybody around was like, you got to get this guy out of here, because, like, I was about to trip out. And I was trying not to, you know what I mean? And we was doing an acoustic benefit for a young lady who had cancer. And he kept jumping on the stage and taking over the mic on Mike D'Amico, you know what I mean, singing, you know, the songs with us. And I appreciate that he was getting into it, enjoying it. But, you know what I mean, we didn't ask you on the stage, you know what I mean? We're doing a show here, you know what I mean? And he just, I don't know if he was drunk or what, I don't know what his story was. But he kept saying, "Hell, Satan," in my ear. And you know what I mean? Oh, man. And for me, I mean, that's how, yeah, if that's how you are, if that's how you feel, and that's how you see, that's fine. That's you. But, like, I'm a Christian, so to look at me and not give a fuck about what I'm saying or thinking, and just repeatedly saying "Hell, Satan" to me, I was just like, dude, get the fuck out of here, man. You know what I mean? I'm done with you. You know, but, you know, I mean, I'm not trying to downgrade the guy. You know, but you guys are his friends. You guys know what I'm talking about. You know?
We just don't think of anything about it, you know.
Like, but what he says, like, the topic when he speaks, he's not wrong.
That's what I'm saying. He's very in depth. He has a different thought process. You know what I mean? And
well, I don't think he has a different thought process at all. I think if you separate the category of how he thinks about what he says, I think you're doing it a disjustice.
He has a different way of explaining things.
Well, no, it's like this.
And it's weird because it makes a hell of a lot more sense.
It might be different, but if you take the time out to listen to somebody like Debnar, and take what you think of him and take what everybody else thinks of him out of the equation and just listen to the words that the man's speaking. It's not that he has a different way of explaining. You're having a different way of listening. You know what I mean? Like, we're all in the same boat together. We're all living the same life. You know what I mean? Regardless of what. Like, I'm a Christian. He's not. You know what I mean? Clearly. You know what I mean? But, like, when it all boils down to it, it's all about knowledge. And the man's got a lot of knowledge. I will give him that.
A lot of something.
I think with what he needs is just make sure he always stays respectful, because that's one thing we're missing in society is the respect. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
But that's one thing about this concert that's very important, and that's the respect for our children. Like, our children, like and Debnar, man, when you listen to this, I'm gonna apologize for saying this ahead of time, but I'm speaking the truth. Like when the idea of you raising our future, it scares the shit out of me because of the whole Satan shit. You know what I mean? But the ideas that Debnar has in his brain about how people are mistreating our kids and how like you said, going into the hospital, getting a kid that's dope fiending in the hospital and not even worried about the parents. That's all true. You know what I mean? But here's my question. It's one thing to talk about it, but what is anybody doing about it? That's my thing.
Yeah.
You can share your opinion with me 1,000 times, and you could be 1,000% right. But unless you're willing to stand the fuck up and do something about it, not just on a radio podcast like this, or not just whatever. I'm talking do something about it.
Right.
Stand in front of your city council, write to your commissioners, go in front of your senators, talk to your governor. As a matter of fact, I look straight at the guy Mosley. What is that? His name Mosley, running for Senate right now for West Virginia, whatever. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I looked straight in his face. I said, "So, what's your chance of winning?" He goes, "I think it's pretty great." I said, "Good." I said, "I want you to pay close attention to this." And he goes, "Who are you?" I'm like, "You're going to find out, because you will see a lot of me in the next year." And he was like, "Well, what are you doing?" His assistant's handing me a card. Like, you cannot look at your city council or your mayor or your senator or your governor, or not even the fucking president of the United States, like he's anybody better than who you are. We are the people, and they work for us. And it's high time, and this is what I'm trying to project with this concert. It's high time that they see that there's more of me than there are of them. You know, like the
Absolutely.
city, for instance. You notice, what's it say on the top of this?
Weirton presents.
There you go. Because I stood in front of Weirton Council on February 12th and asked them to support me and asked them to back this concert. What does that mean? I'm asking them to sanction this concert, to make this a Weirton event. I put it on the top of the flyer. Well, he did it. Rooster did it. But we put it on top of the flyer, correct? Mm-hmm. Now, here we are 2 weeks from the show, and I get a call saying, the mayor's supporting you, but the city will not sanction this. And I'm thinking to myself, this has to be a joke, right? But then again, in the paper, it came out. The paper called me, had talked to me. I did an interview with them, and they did the interview. They did my interview, and then cast it in how the mayor gives me 100% support. Now, I support the mayor of this town. Bubba Miller is awesome. He's amazing. What I do not support about this town is the city council and their lack of listening to the people without a voice. Well, guess what? They don't call me the voice of the voiceless for nothing. I speak for every single one of these people that's affected, every single one of these people that the city takes for granted. And I'm going to tell you something. We might not have all the money. Matter of fact, if you put my money compared to half the people's money, we might get $5. You know what I'm saying? Right. But there's something that I have that not too many people have, and that's a voice, and that's the courage to stand up and use it. And that's what this is all about, man. We have to fix this.
Now, the morning of the show, you're actually going on, what is it, 106.3 The River?
Yeah, 106.3 The River, 94 point.
Dimitri.
Yeah, Dimitri, yeah. Did you see that debacle? Did you see all that?
No,
I
heard
explained
about
it to him, though.
But
Yeah.
I'm a big 106.3 The River fan. I'm surprised I did not hear it.
Oh, man.
That's my
Please
station,
indulge
man.
us, man. I think it's a really good story.
So I wake up and I'm thinking, how can I put this concert out in the open, you know what I mean? So I write this huge, long post about why you are important to this concert. Not the bands, not the speakers, but why you, the general public, is the main reason for this. Because we need the power of numbers. I mean, it was beautifully written. And it was long and it was factual. And, you know me, I speak from the heart. I'm going to type the same way. Might have some little misspelled words here and there, but I'm going to get my point across. And I start sharing on every page possible. Okay, this is a Saturday morning, about 3 weeks ago. All right, and I'm sharing it everywhere I can, every weird page, every whatever, everything I can think of. And I stumbled across 106.9, 106.3, The Rivers, a live feed. I didn't even know they had a live feed. It just popped up when I was searching for all these things. And there's Dimitri, and he's talking. And he kept saying, call in. And I was like, oh, fuck it. What's the number? So I asked for the numbers. He gave the number again. I wrote it down real quick. When a fly, you see that fly zoom past me? He heard what I said about his ancestors because he comes zooming past my face. But anyway, so he, he gives me the number and I call in. Now I'm talking to this cat that, his producer is Great Nate the Great or whatever he calls him. His producer. He's always talking to him online. He's always talking to him. And I don't realize that I'm transferred over. I remember hearing "Hold On," but I don't remember anybody saying hello or nothing or "Hey, you're online." Now you hear it if you watch the video and you listen back to it. You can hear him saying, "You're on with me. What's up?" You know what I mean? But I didn't hear it on the phone. Like, it didn't come across. I don't know if my phone shorted out or what. So I thought I was still talking to Nate the Great, the producer. And he stops me. He goes, "Yeah, Focus, what are you talking for? What are you calling for?" And I'm like, "Oh, hey, man, well, we're having this concert on July 28th for child abuse awareness." But before I got the word awareness out, he's like, "Absolutely not. Get him off the line. No, that's absolutely disgusting, blah, 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 blah." I just went on this tantrum about how disgusting he was. And even started talking about something else and went back to raising money for child abuse. How disgusting. You know what I mean? And I'm sitting there going, it's free concert. I'm not raising money. So I sent him this huge thing in his inbox, personal inbox.
Oh my God, that's insane.
And I said, "I feel that what you did today on the radio put a little bit of a black cloud on what I'm fighting for. So this is the truth. This is what I was calling for, right?" There you go. There's the information. I even gave him the flyer. I sent the flyer to him. So meanwhile, after I did that, I'm looking online and I just keep on getting these emails and phone calls. I mean, like, half the fucking area is livid off of this. I mean, they are losing their shit. You know what I mean? I go on to 106.3 and on the rating, they're calling for his dismissal. They're calling for an on-air apology, and this is just Saturday night. Right?
Oh
So because all this was going on, I said, well, I'm going to tune in on Sunday and see if
a Saturday and Sunday morning.
Yeah. And I was going to tune in on and see if he says anything about what happened on Sunday. So instead of getting the apology, he goes on there and he's like, "Well, Nate, great, I was going to tell you, I wasn't going to bring it up, but my wife been nagging me all night about it. She says I have to talk about it. And yesterday we had a caller, and what was his name again? Now, mind you, I know he watched everybody's talking on there. I know he watched everybody's responses, and I know he had to dream the name James Keller that night because everybody was throwing James Keller in his face. You know what I mean? But he's like, "What was his name again?" Yeah, he was doing like a race or something, and I'm like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? So I was okay with all that. Okay, you save your thing. Now I'm waiting for this apology, but it never came. And then he turned around and he goes, "Well, he ended up emailing me. He told me he was nervous, calling in." And I'm like, now my ego, you just took a shot at my ego, dude. You know what I mean? I'm James Keller. I'm not afraid to talk to nobody. You know what I mean? I'm the guy when I was on Super 8, the movie, I sat there and walked up to J.J. Abrams, had breakfast with him without even an invite. You know what I mean? What are you talking about? So like, then because he didn't apologize or nothing like that, he kind of whatever, he put all the blame on me for misspeaking when he didn't let me speak. And then the outrage happened again. So I'm watching all these people call for his job, bashing him, this, that, and the other. And that Wednesday, I walked up to 106 Rivers headquarters, talked to the vice president, and insisted that they do not fire him. Don't fire him, you know what I mean? Please don't fire him. You know what I mean? I was calling to see if you guys was interested in teaming up and being a part of this. I don't want the guy fired.
Like the only like actual local radio station we have.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, so why wouldn't I ask
You're
them
not
to-
going to get that from 107.5. You're not going to get that from anywhere else.
Right.
They're the
They're the
down
local
the road.
guy.
Like,
yeah. So I was like, please don't fire this guy. Well, anyway, so the next week, people still logged on. I'm still waiting to hear that apology. You know what I mean? And I'm like, holy damn. So I went to the second annual, not second annual, but the Second Amendment rally they had on Penco Road there, because he was a key speaker. I don't own a gun. I'm not against the Second Amendment. I'm all for the Second Amendment. You know what I mean? But I don't ever go to gun rallies or gun shows or nothing like that because, you know, it takes one nutcase to fucking shoot me. I don't want to do that, you know what I mean? But I went to this thing just to meet Dimitri, right? And so he's up there, and I walked up to him. I said, Dimitri, yeah, I'll talk to you for a minute. He walks up to me. He goes, oh. And I was like, I'm James Keller. And I reached out my hand. And the first thing he said to me, he goes, I am so sorry for that misunderstanding. I really want you on my show. And I was like, yeah, no problem. You know what I mean? I'll do that. And then that's when I met that Mosley guy that's running for senator, because he was there. Oh. That's how it all worked in, because he was talking to Dimitri when I had walked up. And whenever I grabbed, I was like, oh, so who you think you're going to win? You're Manchin or you? And he goes, hopefully me. And I'm like, well, get used to this face, because I'm going to make some noise. And I meant it. You know what I mean? And I told, like I said on February 12th when I went down to city council, I looked straight at Vince Guerrero, the city attorney. I said, Vince, how long you been following me? Mind you, news is there, papers there, whatever. I said, how long you been following me? How long you know me? You know, I said, he's like, oh, a long time now. I said, about 8.5 years, 9 years now, right? You've been following me on Facebook. He goes, yeah, that's it. I said, Vince, I said, I got one question for you. I said, have you ever known me to say I was going to do something and not done it? Nope. That's all you had to say. You know what I mean? And I told him flat out, I am a man of my word. If I tell you I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. And I told Mosley that day, I said, I'm a man of my word. Ask anybody that knows me around here. If you win, get used to this face, because whoever's sitting in that Senate seat will have I'll have their ear by the end of the next year. I promise you. And he's like, okay, here's our information. You know what I mean? And matter of fact, I can show you. I got it. I got all of his information right here.
Nice.
Yeah. Like, let's see. It's one of these things. I'm a reverend too. There's WTV9. Hold up. Look, what's in my wallet? Ooh. There it is. Look, ain't that cool though, man? I'm on my own credit card.
Yeah. Morrissey for Senate.
You see?
Nice.
Well, my mom, that's like me at the altar bar.
Nice.
You know?
That's pretty cool, man.
I love it.
Nice.
Yeah,
Patrick Morrissey.
Patrick Morrissey, that's his name. So he better hope if he wins, he better hope he understands what I was telling him that day, because I'm not joking. Like I plan on getting a hold of former Senator Kessler, and you know, I worked very well with him with addiction and with the governor's task force that we put together for a drug task force. You know what I mean? That was all through what we did with the Dare to Prevent concert for the anti-drug thing that happened in 2010. That all
thing was cool.
That,
you had like a couple like hip hop groups come in. They stayed at where I worked, and they were really cool.
Oh, that was the second one that we did.
Was that the second
Yeah,
one?
that was the second one we did, yeah. Then, King was his name, yeah.
It was so cool.
Yeah, I was blown away by the fact that I actually enjoyed him. I'm not much of a rapper, kind of, you know what I mean? I'm like in a box kind of rock and roll, kind of alternative, whatever, old school rock, classic rock, whatever. I never really, but I will tell you that, I mean, I say that, all right, but I promise you, this is so weird. Nobody, like, you should do a thing on your podcast, like what's in your like eye list, like what do you listen to? Because I swear to God, when I get into certain moods, right? When I get in a certain mood, and we did not own the rights to any of this, by the way. You gotta say that out loud before you play anybody's shit. But nobody would ever expect this from me. Like seriously, none of them. So we'll start off with this one. Like one of my favorite songs. You know what I mean? Right? I got that, and then you cannot forget about.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
Right? This is all my phone.
Oh, Snoop.
Little Snoop Dogg. You don't know this one? You don't remember
I know
that?
that song? Yeah.
You guys.
I know exactly what it is.
Oh, this one.
Just by that rhythm, that beat.
Remember this one? Yeah.
Well, you're actually,
Michael Jackson fan.
yeah, you're a huge Michael Jackson fan.
And you know what? It took me till just.
Don't tell her that upstairs.
What, she don't like Michael Jackson?
Oh, she loves him.
Oh, so do I. Well, like people get so surprised whenever I got this stuff on my phone. Like one of my favorite songs in the world. One of my favorite songs in the world. Like whenever I'm mad, I'm pissed off. If somebody just straight pisses me off to where I'm ready to fight.
Oh, man.
I haven't heard this song in forever. What was this, Eminem Show?
Yeah.
Damn, it's not
Well, that's what I do, man. So when I had those rappers on there, you know what I mean? I was actually bobbing with them. I actually dug them. I was like, and I told him, I was like, dude, I said, I listen to little Dr. Dre. He goes, you don't know nothing about Dr. Dre. I was like, oh, yes, I do. You know?
I'm a doctor's
Well,
in town.
speaking of music, man, now, like, we can find your music on YouTube, but you got a recent album that just came out.
Yeah.
Where can you actually find, like, a good copy, good solid copy?
Like a physical copy?
Can you find any physical copies?
We don't have any.
digital
No,
copies?
we put everything online. Like you can get it like at you can go to descension.hearenow.com, and it's a one-page website that gives you all the links to the album itself. You know what I mean? You got let's see here, but you can get a Spotify. Excuse me. I got charged for a minute. Sorry.
No, you're good.
Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, Amazon, and CD Baby is just some of the few. Plus, it's on YouTube.
And for all the listeners, can you tell them what the name of the album is?
Oh yeah, it's Descendsion. This almost end.
Which is actually we're gonna close the episode out with that full song. This all must end. Great fucking song. Raw power, dude. Raw energy. I remember when you first sent it to me before you even released the album. Like I got an exclusive listening to this song. And like I was just fucking blown away, man. I was like, man, this is really fucking heavy, dude.
Everybody, a lot of people were surprised by the heaviness of the song, because it's different than all the other stuff that we've done. You know what I mean? Like this almost end is different. And do we got a few minutes? I can tell you exactly what happened.
Go ahead.
We talked about it earlier about how I got attacked by all these metal bands. You know what I mean? Like, and they got my Facebook shut down. You know what I mean? Like 8 years of networking, 5,000 friends, contacts, just out within a matter of 15 minutes. You know what I mean? So I was getting ready to quit music altogether. And once again, this has to do with Scott Stapp. You know what I mean? It was November 27th of 2016, and I am just getting all these hate mails and all these people talking shit and this, that, and the other. And when you see a bunch of strangers and a few people you thought was your friends all together in a circle talking a bunch of shit, it'll get to the strongest of you, you know what I mean? And it got to me. And I was about to quit music. You guys do remember that, seeing that online when everybody attacked me, right? You know what I mean? You remember what I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. So I was getting ready to quit music. I was at this music scene. I was getting ready to just drop the band. I was getting ready to just say, fuck it. I don't want nothing to do with this scene at all. The Ohio Valley music scene should be something we should all be friends and partners, and that's why I got into music to begin with, is to create a different, you know what I mean, like to be part of something, not to sit there and play, oh, you're no good, I'm better than you, blah blah blah, whatever. I've never been about that whatsoever.
Right. Especially when there really isn't a music scene, period.
Well, there is a music scene, but it's so
Well, that's what I'm saying, but there's none of that in it.
No, there's not that music scene outlook on it. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. We're all doing the same thing. I don't care if you're screaming into a mic to where I don't understand a damn word you're saying, or you're singing like I do, where you can hear it and you might not like what I say, but I'm singing, or you're rapping, or you're whatever. If you're getting on that stage and you're putting your talents and your soul into something and you're sharing it with the public and there's people listening and enjoying it, we're all doing the same fucking thing. You know what I mean? Excuse my French, you know what I mean? But we're doing the same fucking thing. You ain't no better than me just because you might have more followers or you paid more followers, you know what I mean? Because these days, like, people buy likes, you know what I mean? Like, and that like does do something. Facebook likes, they got 24,000 likes. Oh, they got to be awesome. And then you see them live and it's like, what the fuck is this? You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And that's the thing. And I've never bought a like, you know what I mean? I just take my likes as they come. People like it, they don't, they follow, whatever. There's a lot of people follow our band, but don't like the page. You know why they don't like the page? Because they don't want to be associated with Descendsion in fear that people will start attacking them. Like, it's so bad. The guy the close friend of mine, I'm not even going to bring him up because he told me and Brock we was working on his album, right? And me and Brock went up to do some final touches and whatnot. And we was with the guy that we knew. And he looked at me straight up. This guy is one of the best guys you ever meet, one of the nicest dudes on the planet. And he looked at me, he goes, man, you generate hate, man. And I was like, I don't mean to. He goes, oh, I know you don't. He took a picture with me. And I posted it online, a few years back, And he told me he got so much hate coming at him over that picture that everybody that hated on me attacked him just for being in a picture with me. And I'm like, hey, that's fucked up. He goes, I know, I almost quit talking to you.
It's the cool thing to do.
You know what I mean? It's that, ever since they put me on that dirty.com bullshit, you know what I mean? It's
I've been so Facebook
Was it
free.
like a slam page or something?
Yeah, it's a slam page, and you know what I mean? But like, somebody put my pictures on there talking shit, and and that's just all that page was. And then I love the fact that people come at me and was like, well, you put it on yourself. I'm like, bitch, I didn't even know what it was until I was on it. You know what I mean? I was sleeping one day, got contacted, and then I was on it. You know what I mean? Oh, they're talking shit. But like, but see, that's the thing. And I think that destroyed what we had here in the Valley. If we would have had every band available in this, in the Ohio Valley, metal, rock, country, rap, it doesn't matter. If we all had that legitimate, let's band together to make a scene here, this area would be unstoppable. We'd be the next Seattle.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? But it's not because this person doesn't feel right about themselves, even though they're going on stage and they're standing on stage and they're doing whatever. Bullshit. Yeah. And it's like, I don't give a fuck if you like me, if you hate me, if you think I'm a disgusting person, you think I should die tomorrow, like they've been emailing me like a motherfucker. Go ahead, wish for my death, buddy. Whenever I die, feel free to find my grave. I want you to put some fucking tap dancing shoes on, okay? And I want you to come to my grave, and I want you to do the best goddamn happy fucking dance you can possibly have as you're pissing on my gravestone. Entertain me, you motherfucker. You want to wish for me to die? Do that. But God damn it, understand that when I'm on that stage, at least I'm honest. At least I'm telling you the fucking truth. And at least I don't give two fucks what you think about me. You know what I mean? And that's why people are coming at Descendsion, and that's why people like us. There's no white or there's no gray area. It's white or black. You either love us or you fucking hate us. And the reason being is we don't care what you think of us. You know what I mean? We're going to be us no matter what. You know what I mean? And that's something that this concert coming up on the 28th, it's important. It is in my hopes that there's children that's at this concert that right now are silent and they're...
Concert's free, by the way.
Yeah, free concert. I mean, won't cost you nothing unless you go to the vendor and get some food. You know what I mean? But there's going to be kids that's silent, and silence is deadly. And I will show them. We will show them. Every band on this thing will show them that all they have to do is talk. All they have to do is use their voice. A person that's going to abuse a child, okay, their biggest fucking fear is a voice. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
That's why, like, my abuser looked at me at an early age and said, if you tell your father what I'm doing, I'll kill him in his sleep. Made me protect my father, right? Why did she do that? Why did she do that? Because she knew that inside, she's seen it in my eyes. She had to. That I'm a fighter. I'm a protector. So she did what was best. If you say anything, I will kill him in his sleep. The guy that I love more than anything, my father. Right? So I kept my mouth shut. I protected her to protect him. You see what I'm saying? Right. This is happening in homes all around our valley. Yep. And I am going to teach these kids that these people that say these things ain't worth a shit, and they have no power over them. And once these kids realize that these people have no power over them, then the abuse has to stop.
Right.
So that's it. Man, I got deep again. I'm so sorry.
You gotta encourage them to speak up, man.
It happens, man. But we're gonna wrap this up. Come down to the concert on July 28th. The show starts at 7 p.m. Gates open at 6 p.m. Like I said, it's going to be After the Fall, Threefold, Sound Below, headlining, Descendsion. Come down, check it out. Free admission, July 28th. James, it was great fucking having you on the show, brother.
Yeah, man.
Thank you.
Glad awesome. For the support, too, man.
Thank you guys, man. Thank you.
And my name is Rooster.
I'm Brother D, hanging out with.
And I'm James Keller.
And you're listening to Bad Table Manners. Now sit back and listen to the song off their new album, which is also the title of the album. This is Descension's This All Must End.
But first up tonight, claims that the Trump
Nuclear holocaust.
chemical weapons and all-out war. He has a military force bombed Syria
Heading to Iraq.
away from your theory. So you're saying that you and your fellow Democrats are saying
The truth is seen through